Welcome and thank you guys for joining me. It has been the most Monday of Wednesdays. Dingus has been dropped off, so he will be, well, debulbed by the time I pick him up at 3, which will be great. Although, youngest, most feral did let me know that he has modeling clay, so he could make replacement balls for Dingus. I don't know whether that is extremely empathic and kind or terrifying and I should, ask for help. But I think that, it was a kind-ish thing. Now, full disclosure and warning, I am bringing all the snark. I am in full F deficit today. It has been the Mondayest of Wednesdays, and Dingus was not happy to get into a cage or a carrier, and he did not like the drive. Yes, Slinky, my youngest son has modeling clay and has offered to make Dingus replacement bulbs. They also they did ask when their appointment was, and I said when they got married. Now that will be very funny when they actually get to this. But welcome to this case. I know it's going to be a rough one. This is about the death of, a young child, Evelyn Boswell, and her mother has been accused. And I will be perfectly honest, I will bring all the snark because I already don't like this chick. Now, they state still needs to prove that she is guilty beyond all reasonable doubt. But will I be calling her a swamp hag and corroded trash water? Yes, I will. So if you're not in the mood for snarky snark, Law and Crime has its own channel without the snark. I just thought I'd let y'all know just in case. We were worried about that. But it looks like they have been able to seat a jury. Now, this case is interesting as the jury will be sequestered. So this is exactly like the Delphi case. They will not be allowed electronics. They will be, sequestered in a hotel room. They will not have access to news, things like this. So, it was probably harder to seat a jury that could, be gone from their family and essentially the world for for a week or so. So let's get into this. I'm actually shocked that they were able to seat a jury. They started jury selection Monday. I am absolutely shocked that they were able to find a jury, especially in the locality, because it is a child case and they are so polarizing. So it will be interesting. I wish they had televised voir dire because I think it would have been really interesting to see what the defense was looking for. Now, let's get into this. Enough snark, enough intro. Let's get into this.
Anything else you want to think of before the jury comes in?
Nothing else from the state.
Then we'll be in,
Yes, sir.
then we'll be in recess.
Gotta love court. It's just like the military. Hurry up and wait. All right. Are we getting close? All righty here. Now, I will tell you that I just got in from Walmart, so I don't have the case files pulled up, so I don't know the name of the state prosecutor or anything. So I am definitely behind. You may shame me for my, just absolute ridiculousness. Yesterday, though, my body could not figure out whether my stomach was going to revolt or I was getting a cold flu. So yesterday was a bit weird. Let's get into this.
Have any opinion about the facts in the case, or that I have with respect to that witness's credibility. Finally, during the course of the trial, I may have to interrupt the proceedings to confer with the attorneys about the rules of law that should apply.
And I am boosting the
In some cases,
sound.
we may have bench conferences in the courtroom outside of your hearing, and in some instances, I may ask you to retire to the jury room while we discuss the matter out of your presence.
So yes, I am going to try to watch the whole trial. Now, I will be very real with you guys. The afternoons will probably become nightly newsy news, and I'll try to catch the afternoon in with speed watching it, just because that's my life. So if you are okay with, being maybe a little bit late and not watching it live, that's what I'm going to do with this trial. I feel very strongly. I honestly didn't think we were going to get a trial in this case because it's been so long, but I am going to try to watch all of it. Kid cases really speak to me, although they're incredibly hard. And y'all will know I'm going to need an emotional support beverage when we get to victim impact statements. So y'all get your hillbilly toilet paper, Kleenex, and we will just sit there and be mad with each other.
I ask your patience because these interruptions are necessary points in the trial where we have to resolve legal issues. If, after your deliberations, you find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder, we will then proceed to a sentencing, and you will set with punishment. If, after your deliberations, you find the defendant guilty of any other offense or offenses, the court will set the punishment at a separate sentencing hearing. The jury will not be involved in setting the punishment in those offenses. This completes my opening comments to you. We will now proceed with the reading of the presentment. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Judge. Presentment, case number S-72-869, State of Tennessee, County of Sullivan. Criminal court charge first-degree murder, count 1. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, feloniously, intentionally, and with premeditation kill Evelyn May Boswell, contrary to Tennessee Code annotated section 39-13.
Contrary to humanity, let's not even go Tennessee Code. Also, I would like to give a glow up. Madam Court Reporter's hair is like flippin' awesome. And I speak as someone who just tried to buy one of them wand hair curling iron, and I realized I have failed girl so intensely that I think I just gave myself third-degree burns on my neck, which I will call hickeys. So, Mr. Moe, you did those, not my inability to use a hair curler.
-202A1 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge felony murder, count 2. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully and feloniously kill Evelyn May Boswell, a human and being, said killing being committed in the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate the felony crime of aggravated child abuse, contrary to Tennessee Code annotated section 39-13-202A2, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General.
Well, we certainly are pulling in Letitia Swamp Monster vibes. We've got the Swamp Monster hag hair. We've got, the hunched over appearance and, pretending that I would never hurt a child. Now, I will say that Tennessee must be different because generally this is read by the judge. If you can remember Judge Mommy in the Brooks case, these opening kind of charges took like forever, obviously, because he had done so many crimes and hurt so many people. But this is interesting. And it looks like the district attorney general will be taking this case. So, Megan, I don't know what defense you're going to use other than you're utterly incompetent as a mom, which I don't think works. So there you go.
Charge felony murder, count 3. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled
the
and
Attorney
sworn,
General
upon their
approved
oath,
the
present
charges.
and say
Never
that
mind.
Megan Boswell,
Rewind.
on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully and feloniously kill Evelyn May Boswell, a human and being. Said killing being...
Okay, stop it, lawn crime. This is the same thing that got us out of Lori Vallow and several different other cases because you kept focusing on the defendant. And of course, the defense attorneys are going to comment on that. So, lawn crime, could you possibly not cock up this case? For me and for Evelyn to get absolute justice.
Being committed in the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate the felony crime of aggravated child neglect, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-13-202A2, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge, aggravated child abuse, count 4. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impounded and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, feloniously, knowingly, and other than by accidental means, treat Evelyn May Boswell, date of birth November 21st, 2018,
Howdy,
a child
John
under
C.
8 years of age, in such a manner as to inflict serious bodily injury, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-15-402, a Class A felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge, aggravated child neglect, count 5. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, feloniously, and knowingly neglect a child, Evelyn May Boswell, date of birth November 21st, 2018, a child 8 years of age or less, so as to adversely affect the child's health and welfare, and the act of neglect resulted in serious bodily injury to the child, Evelyn May Boswell. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-15-402, a Class A felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge, tampering with evidence, count 6. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment.
Yeah, these cases are hard to, cover. These are hard to do, but, we need to be a voice for these kids. And, I don't have monetization on, or at least I shouldn't, because I didn't put it on. But I'm obviously not going to be monetizing this. But I felt strongly, again, this baby girl, I want you to think about it. She was wrapped not only in a blanket, a fleece blanket, but in foil, and then placed into a trash can, upside down. As much as I've screwed up as a parent, as much as I have said, things when I'm, over my edge limit of crazy, because chaos is what a big family is. How could you as a mom take your baby and put her out there? And it's not like she didn't have family that was willing to watch this precious little girl, that wasn't worried about her. This woman squandered the most precious gift that anyone can be given. And there are people out there who would give anything, and I do mean anything, take 10 years off their lives, take their entire fortune so they could have a child. And she got one, and she threw it away, literally threw it away like trash. Named and shamed.
Did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously alter, destroy, or conceal evidence with the intent to impair its availability, verity, or legibility as evidence in an investigation. The said Megan Boswell, knowing that an investigation was pending or in progress, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 39-16-503, a Class C felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 7. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 18th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Tracy Haraz, a law enforcement officer, concerning a material.
Do remember that this woman just like Letitia Stout, kind of led the, people that were looking for Evelyn on a wild goose chase to the point where she kind of named and shamed the police department, saying that, she had already told them that her mother had the baby and that they were in Mendota, and basically, tried to present that she wasn't being listened to, that the police and, all the first responders involved in trying to find her child were lackadaisical about it, not worried. Coming from a woman who didn't report her child missing for almost 3 months, but, let's throw shade, ma'am.
Fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell. Knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning Evelyn Boswell and the defendant's claim that her infant child was with the child's father, Ethan Perry, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39.
Oh, yeah, she tried to go beep, 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 reverse on baby daddy. Yes, active duty military baby daddy, she claimed also had her baby. So he is getting called by his commanding officer in, like, where is this child? The mother claims that you have it. And he's like, I'm a PFC, I'm a private first class. I live in the barracks. I have no child. So imagine getting that news. Imagine the crass and callousness of learning that your daughter has been missing. Not only that, but you are being accused of having her, and, the mother is not cooperating with authorities to find your child. I mean, I can't imagine that having just the absolute avalanche shit show that has to be just falling down on you when you are a young man. Again, as a parent, I will tell you, look, kids are insanely ridiculous. Parenting is so incredibly hard. But take a break. Put yourself in timeout. That is what I have learned. Look, I tell my kids, mommy needs to go in timeout. I need to attitude change. And they get it because it's something they have to deal with. It is just take a break. Take 5 minutes. If you, need a break from your child. It's human. It's natural. We love our children and they can still push every single button we have. Take a break. Encourage dual quiet time. Say, hey, mommy's going to go sit in timeout over here. You sit over here and we're going to try to talk, nicely when we're relaxed. It's a goal. But please, please think before, you do anything dumb. You don't want to live with that on your soul for the rest of your life. And I wish to God this girl had just reached out to anyone, because I guarantee if she had put out, I'm stressed with life, I don't get it, please help me with my child. That baby is so sweet. I'd have snuck in with my big old people mover and we would have gotten her and taken her home. Not that Mr. Moe would have noticed a difference, because honestly, we have 6 kids, so what's 7? But my point is, reach out. It is not weakness if you are a parent and you feel like you're at the end of your rope. It's actually the bravest thing you can do, because you are not going to make a terrible choice. You are reaching out and saying, look, I'm stressed out. I need new tools. This isn't working. That is completely acceptable and human. We don't get instruction manuals when they, let us go home with these babies. So if you need help, it is not weakness. Reach out. If you need to just call someone and cry, if you need to cry in your closet, parenting is so hard. Let's stop, attacking each other for stupid, ridiculous things like C-section or natural birth or breastfeeding or, bottle. How about we start supporting each other and realizing how incredibly difficult, but also rewarding and the greatest adventure of your life it is to have kids. I'm going to get off my soapbox now and let's continue.
-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, false report. count 8. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 18th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detectives Michelle Gillum and Tracy Haraz, law enforcement officers, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the defendant's alleged lack of knowledge of the whereabouts of her infant daughter and her alleged efforts to locate her daughter, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 9. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 18th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Lieutenant Steve Williams, a law enforcement officer, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell. Knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the alleged last physical contact that the defendant had with her infant daughter and Ethan Perry's alleged refusal to respond to her text and voicemails regarding her daughter following an argument with Ethan Perry about the custody arrangements concerning her daughter. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony.
Volstorm, does he have the orange of the sports ball team on his laptop? Because I noticed the bright orange laptop and I thought it must be a sports ball thing, or he likes orange. But I felt proud of myself that I remembered Tennessee was orange, I think. Hi, Christine.
And against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 10. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 18th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Captain Joey Strickler, a law enforcement officer, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the defendant's alleged last physical contact with her infant daughter and the defendant's alleged lack of knowledge of the whereabouts of her infant daughter, even though she had concerns that her daughter was possibly injured. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General.
Let me pull that up. I have,
Charge, false report,
as I said,
count
been
11.
behind the times, so I need to
Grand jurors
get all
for
of
Sullivan
my
County,
paperwork
Tennessee,
going.
being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath, present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 19th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Federal Bureau of Investigation agents Jeff Blanton and Todd Wilcox, law enforcement officers, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the alleged time frame of when the defendant gave her infant daughter to Ethan Perry to keep, since she could not handle her daughter anymore, and Ethan Perry's alleged threats to take the defendant to court to address the custody of their daughter. Contrary to Tennessee Code annotated.
Wow, this chick did pull the full Letitia. She's like, no, the baby is with my mama. No, the baby daddy done stole him. No, it was Zanny the nanny. I mean, this woman, Casey Anthony and Letitia Stalk, should just write for Hollywood, because apparently they know all of the, fictitious, felonious, futuristic sort of crimeology.
Section 39-16-502, a Class
I am
D
seeing if
felony
Jedi Jess can pull those, and I will let you know.
against the peace and
But
dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed.
I think we can safely guess by the full daggone palette of paper he has here a fuck ton. Just all the effing felonies. She is just here. Well, so Nick, generally this is what you do, or at least what the judge does in certain jurisdictions. So I am surprised that the state attorney is doing this. But yeah, I hope he brings some sort of passion to his opening statement, because at this point I am Googling how to curl long hair without burning the hell out of yourself. And if you'd like to join Nicholas, I am sending you a
Charge false
link.
report, count 12. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 20th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Captain Joey Strickler, a law enforcement officer, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false.
I feel you. Yesterday, again, my body, I think, has succumbed to just going cold flu. So I'm getting ready to start coughing, which I'm kind of glad, because stomach flu is my kryptonite. I'm like, I gave it up for Lent. I don't want it. No, thank you. That's not good. You should add honey to it, and then it's just a hot toddy. And really, no one can get mad at you for drinking during the day.
And with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the defendant's alleged claim that she last saw her infant daughter in the custody of Ethan Perry on December 26, 2019, and that she had not contacted the police to report her missing child on the advice of Angela Boswell, the defendant's mother. Contrary to Tennessee Code annotated section 39-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge false report, count 13. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 20th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Tennessee Bureau of Investigation agent David Gratz and Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Sergeant Matt Price, law enforcement officers, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the defendant's mother, Angela Boswell, possibly having her infant daughter, but refusing to share with the defendant the location of her daughter and whether she had custody of the defendant's daughter. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, false.
I don't think it's Lent just yet, but my body is craving fish on Fridays. I don't know if it's like all of my Catholic lineage coming down or just I remember always getting fish on Fridays. But every year around Lent time, I want fish sticks. Well, actually, I want fish and chips. Love me some malted vinegar. UK, you got that right. I love it.
Report, count 14. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 20th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Agent David Gratz and Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Sergeant Matt Price, law enforcement officers, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the defendant's mother, Angela Boswell, allegedly having taken her infant daughter in mid-December of 2019 and refusing to tell the defendant of her daughter's location, and that she allegedly did not call the police to report her infant daughter missing out of fear that her mother, Angela Boswell, would harm Evelyn Boswell. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-13, Section 39-16-502,
Good thing.
a Class D
I remember.
felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 15. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly.
Okay, when I am president, if you have this many felonies, the state prosecutor and or judge is just allowed to say, and she is charged with all the fucking felonies. No one is winning. We are still going over all of her charges, and Jedi just sent me this over. It looks like she has 20 charges. So she has 20 charges. It looks like 7 through 18 are false reports. And then we will get to abuse of a corpse and then neglect or, CA. So definitely, you should just be able to say all the fucking felonies at this point. Because she is pretty much all the felonies.
Duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 20th, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Agent David Gratz and Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Sergeant Matt Price, law enforcement officers, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning the defendant's mother, Angela Boswell, having allegedly taken her infant daughter because Angela Boswell believed that the defendant owed her money, and that the defendant's mother, Angela Boswell, had allegedly told her that Evelyn Boswell would not be returned to the defendant until the money was paid.
What in the Walmart white trash rapture is this crap? I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and say this is method acting behavior, but this is definitely crystal behavior, if you know what I'm talking about. I owed my mom money, so she was going to take my baby. Okay, but I thought you gave her the baby. No, no, I was lying because I'm scared. Like, ma'am, I mean, I think at, story number 473, they're just going to not look at what you tell them. But okay.
Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 16. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 21st, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Agent David Gratz and Sullivan County Sheriff's Detective Sergeant Matt Price, law enforcement officers, concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, knowing that the statement was false and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. The said false statement concerning her mother, Angela Boswell, allegedly having Evelyn Boswell at an unknown location, and that despite the efforts of the defendant to find her infant daughter.
No, so the grandma was actually arrested because it's fairly convoluted, but Megan was sort of in a semi-situationship with a manager, kind of well-to-do guy in her town. He owned the local chicken shack because this is where we are in full hill chuck, country. And I guess she had offered to buy this car. There was something wrong with the car as far as like she was going to buy it or something. The mom took off with it and they found the mom and stepdad kind of full on method acting behavior. Crystal method acting behavior in Virginia, where she said that Evelyn was, but all they found was the car, which hadn't fully been paid for. So she got caught up on car theft charges. But as far as, the state has laid charges out, the mother has not been involved with this in any sort of way. So all of these things are Megan Boswell trying to take, the sort of investigation away from herself. And yes, the judge is a Tennessee fan, I guess. Yeah, she had told reporters she couldn't do a polygraph because she was pregnant. And the county didn't even have a polygraph examiner. She wasn't pregnant, and those things are not admissible in court, but let's go ahead with that. Sure.
She allegedly did not know the whereabouts of her infant daughter and did not have any additional information to provide to law enforcement in their attempts to find the missing child. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed Barry P. Stavas, District Attorney General. Charge, false report, count 17.
Ooh, what story am I
Grand
getting
jurors for
now?
Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about February 23rd, 2020, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously make a statement in response to a legitimate inquiry by Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Assistant Agent in Charge,
This
Chris
man is
Wilhoit,
pure Colombian
a law
uncut
enforcement officer,
Ambien.
concerning a material fact about an offense or incident within the officer's concern, to wit, the disappearance of the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell. Knowing that the statement was false, and with the intent to obstruct or hinder the officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring or continuing to occur. Concerning the defendant's mother, Angela Boswell, allegedly having given the defendant's infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, to another person who Angela Boswell refused to name.
So this is where we get into the kind of copycat Skeleton Brothers case. Now, in that particular case, The father has been charged with kidnapping and sort of interference with custody. They've never found the bodies of those three boys, but the father alleges and, maintains to this day that he put his sons, his three, young sons, into this Amish underground to save them from the wife and her abuse. Let me look into that. Honest to goodness, I kind of picked this trial on a whim. So I need to look all those things up. I know he does have a sick laptop. I wonder if they have teal. Although I don't even have, look, I don't even like the computer I have because it's a computer. I need no more technology.
And that her infant child was safe and would have a better life with the unknown person than with the defendant. Contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-16-502, a Class D felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stalvis, District Attorney General. Charge of use of a corpse, count 19. The grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county
So this
of
would be
aforesaid,
abuse of a
and
corpse.
before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously, and without legal privilege, physically mistreat a corpse in a manner offensive to the sensibilities of an ordinary person, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated, Section 39-17-312, a Class E felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Stalvis, District Attorney General. Charge, failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances. Count.
So Justin Smith, Megan Boswell is on trial for knowingly placing her daughter, her infant daughter, toddler, basically wrapping her in a blanket, wrapping foil and other items around that, then taking her outside to a kind of playhouse slash storage shed and placing her upside down in a trash can that had a plastic liner in it. So the medical examiner, because there was such a time between when they found little baby Evelyn and when she was last seen, they've put it down to basically asphyxiation. This is sort of like the George Torres or Jorge Torres, Sarah Boone case. Basically, it was a combination of probably being smushed up against the plastic, kinked at an odd angle, and then also being unable to move her, push herself up because she was head down in the trash can. So this is going to be a really difficult case. I will try to put on warnings when, we're going to do the medical examiner thing and that kind of thing. But I thought it was important. This is one of the first cases that got me into true crime. So definitely. And Jude, thank you for being a member for 13 months. I think you're now a deacon in the Church of Mo. I haven't really set up a hierarchy, so you can be Mother Superior, but if you would rather be a deacon or an elder, we'll figure that out. We need a leader for the mofos. Yes, I am. Yeah, so they contend, the medical examiner contends that baby Evelyn was alive and breathing when she was placed upside down in the trash can. This case is going to be harrowing. I am not going to pull back the snark. I am not monetizing this, so I will say the F and the C word all the damn time. But there you go. That's basic. Then she told, I think, basically all the stories. So she first said that, the baby daddy had her, and then her mom had her, and then all of the other things. So we have a kind of mix of Letitia Swamp Monster versus, Sarah Boone unintentionally versus Skelton Brothers. She went off for a better life. This chick tried all the stories until finally her father basically called the cops and said, I think you need to check out this play area, this storage shed kind of thing. And I can't imagine having to make that call on your own child for your grandchild, but this is it. And hopefully, dear God, could you
The
stop?
grand jurors for Sullivan County, Tennessee, being duly impaneled and sworn, upon their oath present and say that Megan Boswell, on or about December 2019, in the state and county aforesaid, and before the finding of this presentment, did unlawfully, knowingly, and feloniously fail to report the death of her infant daughter, Evelyn Boswell, to the county medical examiner, local police, district attorney general, or sheriff, where the death was from violence, trauma, or an
Great success. The defense might have to pull out something that mitigates this. I don't know what your defense is going to be with this, especially with the amount of stories that she told, the lying she told. I mean, these are bad facts that you're going to have to get in front of if you're a defense attorney. And you might be able to play on heartstrings as far as she was an overwhelmed, single mother. She was, from a bad sort of dysfunctional family. She didn't have a good support system. I foresee that being sort of the defense. The problem with that is that I used to be a single mother. There are plenty of single mothers out there that deal with extenuating circumstances and when life kicks you in the boob, but they don't, throw away their kids. They manage to survive and struggle. So I think whatever sympathy you could, kind of gather for this chick as far as, she was a young mom and, it was hard and she was overwhelmed, kind of gets fucking taken away by the fact that she put her baby upside down in a fucking trash can. I mean, I'm sorry. I can feel bad for you. I can, put myself in the perspective of when I was overwhelmed. But that is completely negated by what she did. And I think that, the defense in this case has so many bad facts that they are going to try to have to contend with. So this might be a case where they are simply fighting for, life in prison instead of the death penalty. Or, maybe a possibility of parole. This might be, we just want to mitigate and see if we can get the least amount. And it is a sad story. I mean, I get being overwhelmed. I get being a single mom, but nothing excuses this. And reach out for help. If you feel overwhelmed, that is the bravest thing you can do. No one, look, don't ask for help from people you already know are a-holes, okay? But for the love of God, if you are overwhelmed, if you are stressed out with your child, take a 10-minute break. Make sure they're safe. Make sure you're safe. Take a break. Call someone. Cry in the closet. Don't do this. For the love of Cheetos. I have to double check that. It might only be in my head canon because I have some ideas. I do. Let me see. What do I think she needs? Oh, I know. I mean, that's just my idea, but this is why I'm not a judge, because I would have just already done sentenced her. you know? Well, then maybe you're an a-hole too, like to like. I don't know. Y'all, I have avoided this whole Justin and Blake Lively thing. But yesterday, as my stomach was trying to haul ass out of my body, I decided to just dive boob deep into that. And oh my Bob, what the hell, Amber Heard 2.0. The amount of cray-cray is nuts. John C., I don't know if they're going to dig deeply into her history. I know that she was from a fairly dysfunctional family, but again, I don't know. It is going to be very hard to elicit sympathy for this woman, and they might just be upholding her constitutional rights. I mean, there are so many bad facts for her in this case. I don't know how you would get ahead of them.
Any suspicious, unusual, or unnatural manner, contrary to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 38-7-108, a Class E felony, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Signed, Barry P. Staubus, District Attorney General. True bill was returned 22nd day of May 2024, and it's signed Sally Sierra, foreman of the grand jury.
Mr. Scott, how does Ms. Boswell plead to each count?
Defendant pleads not guilty in every count.
Thanks, sir.
Right.
General, you have opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Oh, she looks like she has some life. Maybe we're going to get some life.
Good morning.
Holy florals and ruffles and wavy hair and cat's eye tortoise glasses. Ma'am, maybe I'm having an overstimulation day as far as sensory overload, but holy giblets, that's a loud shirt. And Hoozle, let's get into this. Maybe she's going to be passionate. Come on, you've got your florals on. Let's kick some ass and call this swamp monster out of her name.
Today we're going to talk about Evelyn Boswell for a few minutes. In 2019, Evelyn Boswell was a bright, growing little girl, full of life, healthy, learning to walk, learning to talk, doing all the things that a 12-month-old child would do. Which means today, 5 years later, Evelyn Boswell would be 6 years old. She would be possibly...
Dry your tears. I give 2 flying fucks in a handbasket if you are crying right now. See, this is why I'm not on the jury, because I'd be like, excuse me, guilty. I get you're sad that you made a choice that you wish you could take back, possibly. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt here. But this is so performative and will piss me the fuck off to see you just crying like, I am the victim. Somebody took my child from me. It was you. It was your hands that did it. Spare me.
kindergarten, learning to read, maybe taking her first ballet class or her first soccer game, learning to tie her shoes, all of the things that we think of that are first.
All we need this heifer to do is that fake vomity thing that Shanda Vander Ark did. Like, I didn't know my son was skin and bones. I didn't even see it. Like, ma'am, you had the damn, medical examiner pictures, at your defense table. So spare me. Okay, I'm going to tell you I'm at full fuck deficit with this chick. So my ability to, say, okay, well, optically, I can tell you optically this pisses me off. And if I'm in the jury and I'm going to get exposed to more facts as far as, what she did and didn't do, that's going to piss me off.
For 6-year-old children. But based upon the last 2 days of our jury selection, we all know that Evelyn Boswell is not going to do any of those things. We all know that all of that was taken away from her in December of 2019 by the defendant, Megan Boswell. And her life wasn't just cut short. It's not just a tragedy.
John C., the state still has to prove its case. But I will be really real with you. As far as everything I've looked into this case, she is the only one that possibly did this. Now, again, the state has to prove it, and if the state does a shitty job, I will call it out. But yes, this is me in full F deficit. I have given that warning. So I do not like this chick. She lied to everyone. She pulled Letitia moves. She made it so the family had to wait to, bury the child. But I will try to keep impartiality, but I will tell you that I'm going to have a hard time with this one, and I'm going to be super petty. So it is what it is. At least I'm honest with my snark and my petty, and I am definitely out and in forward with this.
Her life was violently ripped away from her. And we can all agree that it's a shock, it's a tragedy when a child dies. It's upsetting. It upsets all of us. You'll hear phrases like, gone too soon, what a tragedy. A child had such a life ahead of them. And a lot of times it is a tragedy. And in this case, it's a tragedy too. But in this case, it was a preventable tragedy. There's so much more to this story that you are going to hear. Because Evelyn did not have to die. Evelyn could be here today. And so today, 5 years later, we are asking you to give justice to Evelyn Boswell. During this trial, you will learn that the one person, Evelyn's mother, Megan Boswell, who was entrusted more than anyone else to take care of her, to keep her.
And no, that's a good point. So what I plan to do with this trial is I will be writing down what the state claims that this case is going to be shown. And then once we get through the trial, we'll play the opening statements again and see if they proved what they said they were going to as far as the case. Because we have gotten a lot of prosecutors who sort of do innuendos, or, they say they're going to prove this, but it never materializes. So I do want to see if the state does kind of stick to their opening statement.
Safe to protect her, that she failed her in the worst possible way. You will hear proof that the last time Evelyn Boswell was seen alive was December 6th, 2019. You're going to hear that date a few times during this trial. That is the last time that Evelyn Boswell was seen alive. And that was just a few weeks after her first birthday. And you're going to hear from many witnesses who saw Evelyn frequently, saw her all the time, family members, Megan Boswell's friends, that all of a sudden are like, where's Evelyn? Where's Evelyn? We're not seeing. They're concerned. And they would ask Megan Boswell about it. And every time, Megan had an answer. Megan concocted a story. And I'm not going to tell you now what she said. You're going to hear that in the proof. But she told all kinds of different stories, depending on the person that she was talking to. And you will hear from those witnesses today. But you will hear, or this week, but you will hear there was concern. But, they knew Megan. They thought they knew Megan, I should say. And so they wanted to trust that what she was telling them was the truth. But it was not the truth. So after December, what happens next? We have Christmas, New Year's. Where's Evelyn? There is no Evelyn. You will not see any proof that Evelyn was seen at Christmas, New Year's. Then we jump to January. The entire month of January 2020, 31 days. Where's Evelyn? There's no Evelyn. People are really starting to get concerned. Megan Boswell.
Yeah, this is the part that really confuses me. And I guess, maybe it was sort of the family structure, or she didn't have that support network. But the amount of time it took to report Evelyn missing is almost unimaginable. I am planning to stream this whole trial. I will be probably condensing the afternoons to do an evening speedrun trial kind of stream, to work around my life. But I will be, doing this entire trial. We just might be a little bit behind all the time. But we should hopefully catch up, because I will skip breaks and things like that.
Well, continues to concoct stories of where Evelyn is to try to help people make sense so she can keep this going. The entire month of February 2020. Where's Evelyn? Again, at this point, family is really starting to get concerned that they have not seen Evelyn. And they're asking questions. Months pass. We're not talking about weeks. We are talking about over 2.5 months that Evelyn Boswell is missing. The defendant is not even just canceling her well visits. She's no-showing. She's just not showing up because she knows where Evelyn is. But again, even to the pediatrician's office, she has to concoct a story about forgetting the appointment maybe, or I got my days mixed up. Always a story. Always a story. So we know now, we did not know then, but we know now that from early December, Evelyn Boswell, even though it had not been reported by Megan Boswell, Evelyn Boswell was a missing child from early December until almost the end of February. She was a missing child. And the only person who knew that, the person who was entrusted to take care of her the most, is the only person who knew that Evelyn was actually missing. And she just left it unreported. Over 2 months later, finally, Megan Boswell's dad, Tommy Boswell, finally essentially puts an ultimatum down on his daughter.
Bobby, it was supposed to be host. But, at this point, it is on brand. I give up. As a chaotic, neutral, goodish, it's on brand at this point. At least I'm not, Blake Lively at this point.
And says, I'm tired of the stories. If you don't show me my grandchild by the next day, I'm essentially calling the police. Well, Megan knew she could not do that, and she did not do that. And Tommy Boswell finally was the one to report Evelyn missing on February 18th of 2020. Finally, law enforcement gets involved. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation gets involved. The FBI.
So guys, the last time she was seen alive was December the 6th, and she wasn't reported missing until February. It boggles the mind. It really does.
Gets involved. All hands on deck to find this missing child. She's finally reported missing. But it's important to note that it was not Megan Boswell that reported her child missing. Megan Boswell never reported her child missing. So you're going to hear from December of 2019 until February of 2020, when it's finally reported, that the defendant's biggest believable story, that really is probably what kept the family from reporting earlier, is she was saying that Evelyn was with her father, Ethan Perry. And you'll hear a lot about Ethan Perry, and you'll get to hear from Ethan Perry yourselves. Ethan Perry is actually not Evelyn's father, but Megan led him to believe that he was the father. And everyone...
What in the white trash revolution? Are we having a Jerry Springer, you're not the mom, or you're not the father? And there is no... For the love of all that is holy, you roped a man in who wasn't the father of your child. Oh, okay, well, get on your hillbilly telenovelas shoes, because we are all in, welcome to Hillchuck land. It's like Gossip Girl, but, trashier.
For all purposes, also believed Ethan Perry was the father. So to the family, they're like, well, that's good. He's stepping up. The father's stepping up. That's good. We're proud of him. And that is the story that Megan Boswell told mostly to her family, to her friends.
Okay, maybe it's just me, but when I'm a grandmama, and hopefully we don't have any baby daddy drama or nothing like that, but say my middle-ish daughter comes in and says, hey, your granddaughter's safe. She's going to go live with, private first-class schmuck over there. And I'm going to say, he's a 21-year-old dude. I've never really met him. Why is my granddaughter over there? I might want to fix to meet you, get to know you, welcome you into the family. even though you're not, you're living in sin, I still want to do it. So you're telling me as a grandparent, your kid just says, look, she's with her dad. For the love of all that is holy.
Friends, you were going to hear a lot of testimony about her just telling everyone that Ethan Perry has gotten Evelyn. First, you'll hear that they're trading weeks, but doesn't make sense because people are still not seeing Evelyn. So then Megan took it one step further where he took her to court and got emergency custody, blaming her for something. And again, not true. There was never court. There were no documents. Juvenile court was never involved. It was just another story that Megan Boswell was telling because she knew where Evelyn was, and she had to keep perpetuating this lie. Interestingly enough, she didn't think it through completely because Ethan Perry at the time was in the Army in Louisiana. He lived in barracks, and I think we all understand and know that in the barracks, there's not going to be a...
She's lying. There is a bring your kid to barracks day, I'm sure. Look, we have a recruiting deficit, so it's bring your child to the barracks and sign them over to the U.S. military. Who the hell bought this? Anyone with a functional knowledge of the U.S. military knows that this has never happened. He lives in barracks. What in the name of all the Schnell is she trying to pull here? There is no way that, not to mention, most courts aren't going to give the child, a young infant-style child, to a father generally, unless the mother is so egregiously inept. It just boggles the mind that none of the grandparents said, oh, let me see the papers. Let's, try to get you a lawyer. Let's, try to get this baby back. None of this makes sense.
A toddler running around, but Megan Boswell, in perpetuating that story, she didn't care. She got the entire Army involved in this to go investigate this poor guy who was trying to serve our country in Louisiana. Pulling him out of his duty, I can't imagine the chaos that caused, all because Megan Boswell wanted to perpetuate this lie. And Ethan Perry didn't even see Evelyn in December. You will hear that he came in to visit his grandparents on leave. He never saw Evelyn Boswell over Christmas or over December. And we all know why now. But at the time, Megan again tells the story, Evelyn has the flu, she can't come. And you will hear the testimony that no one, not Ethan Perry or anyone else, saw Evelyn Boswell in December. The hard part. From early December of 2019 until later when her body was found, Evelyn was always in the same place. And Megan Boswell knew that.
Oh, cool.
Megan Boswell knew that because she is the one that put Evelyn there. She placed Evelyn's body in a kitchen trash can. Her own trash can from her home, from the trailer that she shared with.
Oh, I'm kind of liking, she was going slow for a little bit, but she's growing on me. This whole Southern, okay, whatever. I mean, she is reading her for filth subtly, which is something I can't do. But I do love the restrained, just, I read you for human garbage. She's not hiding it super duper well, much better than me, but it's sneaking out. You can tell she just wants to go rage at Megan and point and say, this cahoot is out. Just out. We vote her out of the island, out of humanity, out of, this orbit. We just want her to go to Mars. So I do like the very subtle but slowly leaking out snark that is coming from this attorney.
With Evelyn, and she hid that trash can in her own childhood playhouse on her father's property, a playhouse that you will see no one has been in for a very long time, and that it was Megan's. It was personal to Megan. not to anyone else.
It is so remarkably haunting, callous and callow, that you would leave your daughter like trash in the place where you played as a child, in a place where I'm sure her grandfather was saving that playhouse so that Evelyn can play with it when she got older and any other future grandchildren to come. The absolute desecration of what should be a place of childhood joy and imagination and pretend and innocence is heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking that she would take, something her father built and turn it into a mausoleum for her daughter. And not even give her a proper burial, but throw her out like trash. It's just beyond words. You know what, Lexi? I revised that. She goes to Phobos because I think Mars is too good for her. She needs to go to Phobos and Deimos, the very small orbiting moons of, Mars. Okay, Bobby, here's the problem with that. What if you're an alien and the first human you meet is Megan fucking Boswell? I mean, we want them to teach us how to quantum leap and such. So she can't be the first human they meet. Maybe Kanye.
And you're going to hear that Evelyn was put into the trash can upside down is the best way to describe it. Head down, in a bag of trash, filled with food debris, broken eggs. Her body just placed in there by the defendant. You will see that there was a blanket tightly wrapped around Evelyn's body, pulled up over her face, and quite a bit of aluminum foil then wrapped around her head. The blanket completely covering her face, the foil completely covering her head. Upside down in a trash can, still in her.
So this is where the medical examiner did have a hard time trying to figure out what exactly asphyxiated Evelyn, because it was partially positional asphyxia because of her being upside down, not being able to clear or make a clear airway. But then she was also covered in a blanket and foil. So absolutely, Tin Swope, I completely understand. And you guys, if you can't do this case, it is totally okay. I understood that this was going to be a really hard case. So I will try to keep my snark up. I will try to keep us snarking instead of crying, but the medical examiner part is going to be difficult. I will already tell you guys that. The victim impact statements are going to suck all the donkey balls. They just are. But we need to be here for Evelyn. Evelyn was thrown out like trash in a trash can that had flippin' food particles in it, like eggs and coffee grounds. She couldn't even put a new fucking liner in. Anywho, let's get back to it because I'm about to rage. So let's get back to snark. I can do angry. I can do angry snark and taking the piss out of people. This is heartbreaking. So that's where we go with it. We go angry snark, and we will bring the heartbreak when and if this woman is adjudicated guilty on her 20 charges.
Purple fleece onesie and diaper. And as terrible as it is to say, you are going to hear that she just wasn't placed in the trash can, but then another trash bag was placed on top of her. And that trash bag was shoved down into the trash can, compressing Evelyn into the trash can. That's what we're dealing with today.
Oh, hell the fuck no, she did not. She did the 5-year-old full snot forehead hair gel. I already thought you were a reprehensible human being, but when and if I am Empress of the Pettyverse, that is a trebuchet offense, okay? And Tim Swope is completely right. Fire departments are open 24/7, no questions asked. If things are too much for you right now, if you are stressed and worried that you are going to make a terrible choice, you can, drop your children off at the fire station and they can help you. I don't know what all that entails, but most states do have, a safe kind of haven law.
And you're going to hear proof that directly links only one person to this crime, this horrendous crime. You are going to hear that the only person linked to this crime is sitting at this table right here. You're going to hear it from many witnesses. You're going to hear all of the stories that she concocted, the lies that she told.
Tim, my 92-year-old mom asked me to stop by our local fire department the other day. I asked why, and she said she was going to give me away. Mom, I'm 64. A lot of hospitals, again. And, maybe part of this is on us. If you know a mom, if you know a caregiver, it doesn't have to be a mom. If you know a dad or a caregiver, maybe reach out and do something nice for them. Help them fill their cup. A lot of times as moms, we can kind of run on empty. And I'm not excusing what Megan did, but maybe let this case encourage you to reach out to the moms around you and the dads and see if they need, you to watch something or how can I help? To be fair, a lot of moms are going to lie to you and just say, we're fine, we're doing great. They're in the closet just crying, drinking gin. So maybe offering to help, but there you go.
You're going to hear forensic evidence that links the defendant, Megan Boswell, and only the defendant, Megan Boswell, to this crime. One step further. This entire time, Evelyn is decaying, decomposing in this trash can, again, upside down and compressed. What is Megan Boswell doing? Is she mourning her child? Is she worried? Is she scared? What is she doing? What would a mother be doing? Well, it's not what Megan Boswell was doing. And you're going to hear that because Megan Boswell got a new boyfriend, and it conveniently happened at pretty much exactly the same time that Evelyn disappears, when no one sees Evelyn again. Megan.
Oh, we pulled a Susan Smith. How convenient. And Lexi says you can also get needed mental health care for free if you don't have resources. Call any hospital and ask to speak with a social worker. So yeah, there are a lot of options. We could do better. We could always do better as, a society to help people to, nurture the family. But there are some resources. And, there have been many a nights where, nursing babies, I just have to let them cry it out. This is another prosecutor. Well, it was all the shade.
Megan Boswell has decided she's just gonna, Evelyn just out of the head, and she's moving on with her life, and she is living her best life, and you will hear that. She has this new boyfriend who has money, or at least she thinks he has money, and she's going to have a better life for herself. Not her child, but for herself. You will hear that she takes trips. She's clearly falling in love. She moves out of the trailer that she was living in with her child and moves in with this guy within weeks into his home in a very nice neighborhood in Blunteville, Tennessee. You are going to hear testimony.
Please tell me Bluntfield, Tennessee has a dispensary and a t-shirt asking for a friend. Maybe I'll take a trip.
testimony that Megan Boswell is taking trips to Gatlinburg, to Pigeon Forge, staying at Margaritaville Hotel, all while her child
Holy shit, did she go to Dollywood too? We could have had a meetup.
is upside down decomposing in a trash can. You will never hear that Megan Boswell was upset, mourning her child, crying. All she does is continue to concoct lies to cover up what she did.
Fallstrom, we need to talk to their tourism board. Can you imagine the 420 day? Look, Blunteville, call me. I can make your town shenanigans.
Is that what a mother does? So you will hear that when Tommy Boswell reports, it's essentially all hands on deck with law enforcement. Immediately, law enforcement goes into action, and you are going to hear so much proof about how much effort went into finding this baby, how much time and hours worked by every law enforcement agency in North Carolina, East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee. Everyone putting their efforts into trying to find this little girl and hoping, just hoping, to find her alive. So then Megan Boswell then, of course, comes clean, right? Once law enforcement's involved, because Megan knows where Evelyn is, so she's gonna tell law enforcement, right? The answer is no, and you probably can gather that by General Harper reading the indictment for about 40 minutes this morning. Megan Boswell continues to perpetuate her stories, concocting anything, blaming anyone else, Ethan Perry, for a day, 2 days. She continues that story of Ethan Perry. Then you'll hear she admits that's not true. So then she tries to blame her mom, her own mom. She decides to try to blame to try to get out of this because she knows this snowball is rolling down this hill and she's trying to stop it the best she can. Why is she doing that? It's because she knows that she brutally murdered her child and she's trying to cover it up. And maybe she had that hope that Evelyn would never be found. And even to this day, 5 years later, Evelyn would still be a missing child. The defense said something really interesting in jury selection yesterday afternoon that I want to touch on.
Uh-oh, she's going to touch the
He
defense.
said to you, you only have one chance to get this right. Do you remember that? Then he said, Megan only has one chance to get this right. Do you remember that? I submit to you, Megan Boswell has already had her chance. She was gifted with a beautiful
I second
child.
that.
A healthy, vibrant little girl. Evelyn was perfect. Megan Boswell already had her chance.
Fucking preach. Preach, preach. I know that she is staying mostly professional and not adding the ad hominem attacks that I would definitely add. But I do like to see when prosecutors really, or defense attorneys, any attorney who really zealously gets into the case. And you can tell the absolute contempt with which she regards Megan and what she did. And it does feel appropriate in this type of case when there has been such a violation against innocence, against humanity, to take a child. This, to me, I'm not a lawyerologist or nothing, but to me as a juror, I'm going to be, I want someone that is passionate about their case. I want them to present the evidence, but I want them to not make me fall asleep while doing it. So the fact that she is really, really invested in this case is comforting. And the fact that she is, well, basically reading her for filth in front of everyone while being polite is astonishing. And I will have to take notes.
So today is Evelyn's chance. Today is our chance to get it right, not Megan's. Today's our chance to get it right for Evelyn. I know this is not easy for any of you. Thank you for serving. I promise you that this is not easy for any of us. It is not easy for any of us. But it's so important for us to be here today. You know you're going to see pictures that you don't want to see. You know you're going to hear things that you don't want to hear. But that's how we tell Evelyn's story. What she endured before her death,
Again with the
during her death,
schnozzing.
and even after her death. And where she had to sit for months while her mother continued just to live her life as if Evelyn didn't exist. Ladies and gentlemen, at the close of this proof, we believe you will be left with no doubt at all, that the defendant, Megan Boswell, is guilty as charged in every count of the indictment. Thank you.
I really liked it. I think that she could have told a better narrative. Let's be real. This is an incredibly compelling story with all the twists and all of the red herrings that Megan put in there. But I think she really struck a balance between giving the facts, the evidence, a scotch of snark, and also really apologizing to the jurors. Megan's victimization of people doesn't just stop at Evelyn. It goes to Ethan Perry, it goes to her family, and now to the first responders and the jurors that are going to have to see her baby, the one she threw away, allegedly, in, with medical examiner pictures, with, crime scene photos. Again, the ripples of victimization by her poor choice, her lifestyle choice, her wanting to get with a new man, the ripples are endless. I mean, it's reached out and affected people who just learned about the case through normal true crime kind of things. It is an incredibly, devastating case, and I do not know what the defense is going to do, but let's see what they say. Hopefully it's not a Chandler Halderson. My client, you don't have video that he murdered them. I do wonder what we're going to pull out for the defense. My client cried. She's sad. I don't know. Let's see.
Mr. Scott.
Morning. She's right about something.
Gee Blitz. This dude, okay, you guys have seen the meme. This lawyer looks like the personification of the Ben Affleck, I am just flipping in full fuck deficit. This man looks like he was down in at least 3 bottles of Jack Daniel before he even came up here. And yes, Emerson Gray, she did claim she was pregnant, so she couldn't take a polygraph test. That turned, yeah, this is like that. He looks like the guy from Clerks. I mean, I wasn't even supposed to be here today. God damn it. He's, I mean, to fully embody him, all right, look, my client's My client sucks. I'm just here to make sure the Constitution is okay. Again, possibly this defeated posture and the fact that your suit was made for a man 400 pounds bigger. Well, he obviously Irished his coffee a lot or something. And I love how our court reporter is just glamour shotting it up here. I don't know. She seems to think your hangdog, kind of sour. She's into it. Um, I believe it is a counterindication. A lot of times when you are pregnant, your basal blood pressure can be higher. A lot of your sort of physiological reactions can be different. I am not fully versed in polygraphy, so I don't know if it's really counterindicated as far as pregnancy, but I do know that several mothers, several women have used it as sort of a defense. I know her hair is just on tap today. She is looking to fire with her hoopity earrings. I mean, and she is doing the glamour shot. And you also have a second, heartbeat. All right, let's see. Let's go. Let's baconate this and, start with Eeyore.
I'm gonna have you go with the officer.
Stand, please.
Count of the indictment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Uh, and yes, it started earlier this morning. Dingus was getting debulbed, so I am a bit late.
Morning. She's right about some things. And this is a terrible situation. There's a child, 13-month-old child, dead in the trash can. There's no getting around that.
Hold on just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have you go.
Look. I, so far, he's kind of doing better than the Chandler Halderson lawyers, but not by much. Look, my client sucks, okay? This case is terrible. Just don't kill me. He's definitely not having the best day. He is also having the most Monday Wednesday possible. The hell? Okay. What in the world? Law and Crime, did you screw this up? Oh, for the love of Cheetos. All right, let's see if they've got... I'm guessing Law and Crime frickin' continued to show the defendant too much. Oh God, he's still leaning. It looks like Law and Crime got pulled down, so we are going to go to Court TV. So I did comment on this. I think that Law and Crime might have been taken down because they were focusing quite a bit on Megan's face as far as trying to capture her reactions. And I know in certain jurisdictions that has been, kind of changed around. If you think of the Lake and Riley case, they moved the camera so that it wouldn't be directly facing the defendant. So that would be my general speculation of what happened. Obviously, I am not a TVologist, so I don't know, but looks like Eeyore is back, so let's see what is going on. Continue, Eeyore.
You may be seated, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Apologize
And
for
thank you, Lady Tammy. That is
I just want you
awesome.
to know that wasn't the fault of any of the lawyers or the parties. It was just a procedure that you all had to take care of. Okay? Now, Mr. Scott, I believe you were about to begin your opening statement.
Don't really know where I was at.
Just start over.
I was. That was the first line.
Aw, that's a sweet judge. And look, Eeyore smiling. I I don't know that we'll see him smiling again in trial, so take a Kodak moment.
I don't really know where I was at, but when Miss Massey goes, she's right about a lot of things. I mean, there's not a person in this courtroom that wants to be here discussing a dead child. Nobody. Not you all, not me. But the state asks you to convict Megan Boswell of first-degree murder. It's very interesting what they've done. They've asked you to convict Megan Boswell of first-degree murder in 3 different ways. They've asked you to find that it's a premeditated and intentional killing of her child. And then they're asking you to find that it's a murder that is perpetrated as part of child abuse. And then they're saying, well, if it's not that, surely it's because of child neglect. That's a problem. The state's theory is reasonable doubt in and of itself. They don't know what happened. They don't know how that child died.
Holy shit, we are going with the Chandler Halderson. Look, you may have video evidence of me, I don't know, luring my parents home, and you may have evidence that I, barbecued them in the fireplace. But do you actually have evidence that I unalived them? Well, then, duh, I am innocent. What, if the hefty doesn't fit, you must acquit? I get it. He has to zealously defend his client, and the fact that the state has sort of multiple ways that, or multiple motives behind putting that in. I get it, but for the love of all that is effing holy, this dude, he did watch the Chandler Halderson trial, and he's like, that chick did an awesome job. Chandler Halderson is a normal boy. He likes playing with video games and his dogs. Chandler Halderson is not a murderer because we don't have video evidence. He did lie about it and dismember his family. But, well, I mean, do we have him on murder? I don't know. Seems a little sus to me. Just for the love of... I know. I am like... Ma'am, I want to just send her a flower basket, like awesome sauce hair. Me and Megan should get together and do like a hair basket of our little, favorite things that we don't use anymore and give them on. I know, she is glam-tastic, and I hope she keeps it up. Of course, that's going to make me raise the bar, and I still haven't figured out how to use them wand curling irons. First of all, you're supposed to... Well, I am just going to burn the ever-living crap out of myself. Let's get back to Eeyore, and we don't really have proof.
And they can't prove how that child died. I expect you'll hear from a couple of different medical examiners who come to somewhat the same conclusion, but one medical examiner, I think you'll hear from her, and she's went to, she has a very interesting theory. But I would suggest to you that her theory is flawed. And the proof will show you why it's flawed. Just like yesterday I was talking about in voir dire, I think I asked a couple of you about the scientific method. And if you put in incorrect data, would you get incorrect results? And you will, if it's data significant. The state asks you, I anticipate this medical examiner, based on her testimony in another hearing is going to say that this child was alive when it's placed in the trash can. But then again, the state says Megan's guilty of abuse of a corpse.
Because she left the goddamn corpse in a trash can. That's what abuse of the court is. You freaking freak of nature. It was leaving this beautiful baby girl in a trash can covered in coffee grounds and egg shells and covered in foil, and then a trash bag placed on top of her. That's desecration of a corpse, in my opinion, but I'm not a lawyer.
Those theories are not consistent. They're not consistent with this. What the state hasn't talked to you about is the possibility, what if this was accidental? What if Megan or Hunter Wood rolled over on that child in the bed? And
The final story that Megan told was a possible hypothetical that she and rich guy fell asleep with Evelyn in the bed. One of them rolled over on top of her, smushing her, smothering her, and then, she had to get rid of the body. It was all. The use of the word accidental here is as infuriating as it is with, Sarah Boone. Again, this is a bad fact, but accidental is not what you throw, especially with the amount of forethought. So she was wrapped in a blanket, then wrapped with foil, then wrapped in a trash bag, then put another trash bag. It very much reeks of the Dylan Groves case where the parents, wrapped this infant child's body in plastic wrap, in milk crates, weighed it down, threw it in a well. All right, and Lady Tammy has gotten our information about a pregnant woman polygraphed, and he said a pregnant woman can be polygraphed up to her third trimester. At that point, the baby could move, causing the mother to react, which would mess with the results. Also, the blood pressure cuff remains on for at least 5 minutes, which could, restrict flow for the baby. So thank you for getting that. Yeah, this whole accident gambit, I think, is going to rub a lot of people wrong. And again, if the worst had happened and you rolled over and you smothered your child, at least for me, I think I would be in such deep denial that I would call 911 and say, my baby someone save them, someone save them. I mean, even if it was beyond the point of saving, I think that would be my first reaction, like, save them, save them. My first reaction would not be, get the tin foil, get the kitchen trash can, we are going to take care of this. But that is a hard hurdle to get someone to say a reasonable person would react like this.
I find this unreasonable, honestly. I find it unreasonable that you roll over on your child in the bed and you don't call 911. But I'm 49 years old. I practiced law for close to 25 years. Mr. Harper talked about yesterday how your life experiences are different. Well, mine are certainly different than Megan's. When this child died, she was 18 years old. Now, you heard about what a great father Tommy Boswell was and how involved he was. What you didn't hear is Megan had that child while she was in foster care. That's how involved Tommy Boswell was.
Oh, this is not good. This is really not good. Again, it is well known and documented that Megan did not have the easiest family life. But neither did a lot of us. Neither of us are trying to a lot of us are trying to dilute generational trauma too. Your past is not an excuse to be a cunt. I don't know how much clearer I can say this, but I think a lot of us are getting tired of, I had a terrible childhood. I never got picked as prom queen. Foster care is a living hell. I don't deny that. I don't deny that the whole system needs recalibration and to be fit for purpose. But don't you dare tell me that your past gives you the right to throw your child away. These gambits are not going to be very good. He is really rubbing me the wrong way with these excuses. I am willing to, at least in part, look at what he is pointing out about the medical examiner and the multiple, causes of death. And I'm willing to look at even Megan taking the stand and saying she rolled over on her. The problem is you have an incredible narrator. Megan lies every time her lips are flapping. So you are going to try to sell the 15th and 17th story, as this finally being the truth. It's going to be a hard sell. He does have an incredibly difficult job. He does have to make sure that the state, lives up to its burden. But throwing in these, she was in foster care, that kind of thing, I think that would be better served in the case. I think that you can bring up these facts that she had a bad childhood or things like that. I don't see this being a gambit that's going to work to engender much sympathy or negate things. But let's continue.
In foster care when she had the child. I think you'll hear a lot in this trial about how she came up. And I like to tell people.
Oh, so how she came up, required her to pin paternity on a wrong guy to give her kids, to, to her mother and then to Zanny the nanny and then to some, other people. And then she was with her father. Again, I have met people who have walked through hell in childhood and they don't use it as an excuse to be an asshole. So again, your past is not an excuse to be a cunt. I really think that's going to be my motto for 2025, to remind myself. Because good Lord knows I can throw myself a pity party and get into the woe is me thing. But just you, sir, all of this is giving me the incredible ick.
And I do tell people, I've never had a hard day in my life. I've never went hungry. I've never not had a place to live. I've never fought a war, and I've never lost a child. And I can't put myself in the position of someone who has lost a child. But that's what I'm going to ask you to do.
WTF, you want me to feel sorry for this? She's the grieving mother. She just had to go to Margaritaville to find her lost shaker of salt. It was terrible. Spare me. She's probably cried more on the camera than she has her entire time for her child. Sure. Okie dokie. And now, why are we talking about Muslims? God, I love closed captions.
Put yourself in Megan Boswell's position. She's 18 years old. She's got an older boyfriend. We expect the proof will be that he tells her, don't involve me with this. I don't want to be involved. Because they're scared they're going to get charged with something. That's going to be the proof in this case. And my reaction and your reaction.
I love that movie. I, honest to God, wanted to grow up to be Angelica Houston and then the Good Witch, but she had a mullet. Also, Hollywood, do not remake the movie Witches. Oh crap, they already have. Well, screw you. I need to do a dramatic read of just the closed caption one day.
Would be different. I would certainly call 911, but I'm not 18 years old. And sometimes I think back to myself and I say,
Screw you, 18 years old. 18, you are ready to be drafted. You can, in some states, buy a firearm. You can vote. This extended infantilization of the Gen-lennial like generation and then Gen Z. I mean, you have people that are living with their parents because the just extended kidult area. It Good Lord. Also, she pinned father or paternity on the wrong guy. What is going on? He, he is definitely not a very good enunciator, and I don't think he has a lapel mic on, so I think he's just getting the ambient mics. I really hope they don't have, Eeyore as the main person the whole time.
I would have called 911 at 18 years old. And I probably would. But I know a lot of people at 18 years old who wouldn't. Their life experience is different. Their maturity is different. If any of you have kids, some of you probably know that.
And here's the problem with that thinking. I don't care how old you are. Once you have a child, you are that child's parent. And that means sacrifice. That means you never come first again. That means your entire life is dedicated to making sure you raise a good human. That's what parenthood should be. So if you're not ready for that, please, for the love of all that is holy, wrap it.
Now, I want to talk to you about about the indictment itself. We entered a not guilty plea to each and every count. And we persist in that. But that probably seems disingenuous to some of y'all. About
It seems real fucking ballsy considering she lied her ass off that you're going to plead not guilty to, let's count them. Okay, so it is in Biggin from 7 to 18, so 11 charges where she made false reports to police officers about where her child was during an active kidnapping investigation. Sure, she didn't lie. Please explain how you're going to do not guilty for this. Was she afeared? Was she scared? Because, God, I wonder if Evelyn was scared when she was upside down, gasping for breath. I am sorry, but this, gin up sympathy for this woman who was the adult, was the mom, was the caregiver, had taken on that responsibility, if not, if in name only. I really, really don't like this defense. And John, I get it, but I'm telling you, if this irks me, it is going to irk a lot of people because a lot of 18-year-olds wouldn't act like this. And to fob it off on age, to fob it off on a bad history is we are getting compassion fatigue. We are a little bit tired of having everyone excuse their behaviors because of childhood trauma or what have you. Or I didn't know what parenthood was all about. There is a way he could have done this that would say, we have a lot of bad facts, but I want you to wait and listen to what we have to say. That is your job. I want you to listen when we ask questions because those are things we have issues about and they might raise reasonable doubt. I want you to listen to, the backstory of Megan Boswell and see if she acted reasonably, with all of her history. There is a way you could have presented this that wouldn't irritate the ever-living shit out of most people. But I can tell you, this is not good, at least in my opinion, optically. Again, it's fobbing it off on her age. It's fobbing it off on bad childhood. And we have, while they might be mitigating factors, it is definitely a plea for sympathy that does feel out of place. Comparing her to a grieving mother is an affront to families that have lost their own children by no fault of their own. No fault. And it's very, very grating. I do think that I just think he is presenting it in a very way, but that's just me.
Certain things. And I want to explain why. Count 7 through 17 charge false report.
No, it's
In the
7
final
through
false
18.
report, they have alleged that she has acted with the intent to obstruct or hinder an officer from preventing the offense or incident from occurring. Well, in the case of the death of her daughter, the death had already occurred when she gave her statements. So it's not to hinder an officer in preventing the offense. Now,
Giblets. He's making the case that because she was already dead, the officers really had no crime to, stop. The child was already dead, so really all of those should be negated. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. I don't think it's going to work out for you, but okay, let's try that one.
or for continuing to occur. That's the first thing. So you have to determine, is she criminally responsible? Did she lie to the police? She absolutely lied to the police. I'm not contesting that. Some of the stuff she said, again, are an 18-year
Bailiff over here is like, I don't think you understand what the hell is going on here because she did lie to the police. They kind of already did that, Dennis. He, said, I would never be able to put myself in the shoes of a parent that's lost a child. But try to put yourself in Megan Boswell's shoes. She lost a child. It was incredibly inappropriate. I don't know how this defense of the baby was already dead, so really there was no crime. There are rare times that I am without a quip, and I'm just going to leave it at that because holy shit balls.
Year-old girl, scared to death, talking to a TBI agent, talking to a police officer, and trying to explain this. She doesn't want to get in trouble.
Okay, I will say that he is giving a good perspective. If we do believe, if the jury goes in with an open mind, he is giving a good perspective, a good insight into what she claims her mental state was, which was in fear, terrified of having to talk to TBI, which is their kind of internal FBI sort of thing, that this had all snowballed. I can sort of get that. What I don't get is, again, good night, nurse. There is a more delicate way he could have put this. I do think he's making good points, but I am not sure how the kid was already dead gambit is going to work. I think it's incredibly gross as a defense, but I'm not a lawyer. So I'm just going to tell you, if I were a juror and that was the first thing I heard from the defense, it would be off-putting. Which is a good thing I'm not a lawyer or not a juror in this, because holy crap, I would be disbarred. Or I'd be like, I cannot be impartial. I think she is a swamp donkey heifer.
It doesn't mean she murdered her child. It doesn't mean she killed her child. What it means is that's her perception that she's going to get in trouble for this. And despite all the assertions to the contrary by the state, this is a trial, and I want to choose my words carefully. Miss Massengill talks about Evelyn. Now get this right for Evelyn. Get justice for Evelyn. And I want you to hear me out before you judge my statement. There's nothing you all are going to do that's going to change anything for Evelyn.
While true, possibly the most crass thing to say, yes, nothing that the jury does is going to bring Evelyn back. Nothing but the earthly justice that may be found. To point blank tell the jury that nothing you do is going to do anything for Evelyn. Wow. Just wow. I get where he's trying to go with this. I get that he's trying to encourage the jury not to be an instrument of, vindictive justice, to look at all the evidence. But that was such a crass and uncaring way to say that. There are ways to say, yes, this might be a case involving Evelyn, but my client, Megan Boswell, is the one on trial, and she is the only one that you should be worried about right now. Well, I don't know that. Giblets. I can't imagine saying this. Fallstorm, this attorney comes off like he's trying to tell his wife why it was a good idea to buy the boat. It definitely is. It's like, look, no, we got the puppy, and I will walk him every day, and I'll bathe him, and he'll be my bestest friend, and he'll never piddle on the floor. Wow. I have just never heard that in a courtroom.
Not me. The child is gone. Your job here today, and in the coming days and weeks, will be to decide whether Megan's actions are criminal or whether they're not criminal. I'm not asking you to find her innocent of anything, because that's not your function.
I did not know that, Super T. I will have to look that up.
The state can prove beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty that she committed each and every element of the offenses charged. And you're not going to be able to do that. Their theories are absolutely inconsistent. Premeditated murder, oh, well, if we can't prove that, maybe we'll get her by neglect. And I would suggest to you that the investigation into this case, once it focused on Megan Boswell, it focused on Megan Boswell. You'll see what little investigation there was into Hunter Wood, the boyfriend that they talked about. It's like he's...
Okay. And Super T, thanks for the info. Yes, this is Evelyn's Law. So Evelyn's Law was passed in Tennessee, and it increases the penalties for parents or guardians who do not report their children missing within 48 hours. So this should never happen again. But, criminals aren't real good with following laws. Daggone, this guy is... Wow, he's working with what he's got, but good Lord, his delivery.
I don't think it's just Megan did this. But we expect the proof will show you that he was involved with it, that he placed that baby there, that he had access to that property, that he'd been a lifelong friend of Megan's brother, Tommy Boswell Jr., who goes by Mikey. You need more of that stuff.
All right. It carries a jail sentence of up to 11 months and 29 days and a fine of $2,500 or both. So it is good to have these extra sort of laws, but again, criminals aren't great at following them, so they can be charged with them after this, I guess, unfortunately. I hope we don't have to ever use this law, but it's the year of our chaos monster 2025.
Now, there are other things about the body and how it was found that will come out in the proof, and I'll bring those to your attention later. But they will show you the baby wasn't placed in that trash can dead. They will indicate to you that baby was probably moved. Also, I want to touch again on this massive Gill's talk about Tommy Boswell. Tommy Boswell just had an epiphany. Well, he had an epiphany after they searched his property.
So this is sus. I will give him this. Tommy Boswell, Megan's father, the grandfather of Evelyn, did call kind of apropos of nothing and told the police to search in the playhouse. Now, his story is, to the best of my recollection, that he smelled something and he had smelled that before, kind of a decomposition smell, and he wanted the officers to look back at that house. I will say it is sus, so I will give him that. Tommy Boswell is about as much of a reliable narrator as Megan. So this is really going to rely on the state proving with that forensic evidence that Megan was the only one there. As much as I've been making fun of Megan, there are some things in this case that do not quite fit the state's theory. So I do respect him bringing it up. I just think that he said some very crass and kind of off-putting things already.
Property over and over after they had run a cadaver dog by that building where the baby was and didn't hit on it. Then one day he'll just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I just got to thinking, Megan had this playhouse down here. Maybe you should come and search it." The cadaver dog didn't hit. Seems strange that the TBI searches your property and you want to say, search all the buildings. Look at the playhouse. Why? Why do you have an epiphany days later? I bet I know where the child is. You'll hear from him. You'll hear him explain it. You can make your determination if you believe it. But ultimately, you're tasked with determining whether Megan killed that child.
Okay, we're going to baconate a couple seconds, but I would like you to read the facial expressions of Glamma because she is buying absolutely none of this BS. It's subtle and southern, but she is like, bless your heart, sweetheart. I don't think you know what the hell you are talking about. She is like, go down to the Piggly Wiggly and get me the stuff to make funeral potatoes. Now go, sweetie. The face.
The child could have died sudden death syndrome.
Oh, fuck right on off to all fuckery. It was SIDS. No, you want to talk about the state having multiple reasons or multiple thoughts about how this happened? You are throwing out smothered baby, and now you're SIDS. Now, SIDS is more of a young, little bitter baby kind of thing. You are definitely trying to put this on SIDS now. Is there like a bingo card of how many people you can fucking offend? And you're just like, let's see, grieving parents, people that were in the foster system that turned out great. Oh, let's go with SIDS. To the parents and, families that have lost children from SIDS, genuinely, I cannot imagine the pain and heartbreak of, thinking you're getting ready to start a brand new day with your baby and it's all taken away. But if it was SIDS, she wouldn't be scared to call 911. So it doesn't make sense. Lady Tammy is right. Again, there's a way you could have presented all of these things without being so crass about the whole thing. I get it. It's almost like he went in, they're already going to hate me. So I am going to speak, kind of offensive truths and let them hate me and not my client. He has spent a lot of time making Megan a sympathetic, scared, teen mom who didn't know where to turn. And it might be a strategy to draw that ire towards him. I don't know, but at this point, he has drawn my ire, okay? And Rianne, that's not going to work. Medical examiner already ruled that out, saying she was too big. Yeah, Grandma is effing. Grandma's about ready to get the wooden spoon, dude. I'd watch out. I think she's got a mean hickory stick. She looks like she'd make you get your own switch. Grandma don't play.
It's an upper range of sudden syndrome, but it's still there. And that child, I think that child's date of birth is middle of November. So when we say a 13-month-old child, the child was barely 13 months. Could have died from that. It could have died from somewhere around the ocean, as they believe. It's negative.
It could have been Zeus, a magic spell from the evil queen. What? Again, I get he is trying to raise reasonable doubt, and I will be very, on tap. I will try to take notes when the medical examiner is there to try to give full credence to the fact that he is saying there are shenanigans going on. But this is, again, if you rolled over, that is unintentional. Yes, it's poor sleeping, safety behavior, but it is something that people might understand more than, oh, I rolled over on this baby, so instead of calling or telling anyone, I'm going to put her in a trash can. Not make sense. It is not reasonable. But he is doing a good job of making Megan vaguely appear sympathetic. If you didn't know anything about the case, it would be easy to put yourself into the shoes of a scared 18-year-old. However, it doesn't pass the smell test. And Kay, I am so sorry for their loss. I can't imagine.
And certainly, disposing of that body the way.
Ooh, Glamma is getting her date on with gentlemanly older bailiff. Watch this. They're chatting it up. They have decided to date while while this man is talking.
And certainly, disposing of that body the way it's disposed of is not excusable. It doesn't excuse anything. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean she's wrong. It doesn't mean that. I want to talk to you about the last count that we pled not guilty to on abuse or failure to report a suspicious death. And as indicted,
Yeah, how are you going to explain this one away, Houdini? So you done said, hey, look, she lied, but the baby was already passed away. So honestly, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not like the police were going to stop a crime. She was dead. I mean, and literally put it that crassly. Then he was like, well, the baby could have died from SIDS. We have no idea. I mean, she could have just done rolled over on it. And now he's going to explain away the not, reporting the death. Gee, Blitz. And Rayanne, that's the problem. Had she, presented, had the case been a young, stressed out mom, maybe putting her priorities in the wrong place, focusing on a man instead of her child, and then she rolled over on it, I think we could all have sympathy. I think we could all understand, if not, it's the throwing away thing we have an issue with, sir, and the lying and the emotional vampirism that she got. I mean, the smiling, the snarky, the, things that she did on those interviews, that's the problem. It's, and old line read, the problem with it, with the it could have been anything defense in a case like this. She was in control of the baby. Hasn't she told you what happened? It's not like she stumbled on the crime scene. Yeah. It is, let's just see how he explains away the whole not telling people the dead thing, because I'm willing to hear whatever spectacular bull crap he is willing to tell me.
The state chose to indict that where the death was from violence, trauma, or any suspicious or unusual or unnatural manner. Now, I can't deny she didn't report it. She did report it. There's no denying that. But what I would tell you is what that indictment leaves out is a key part of that statute. And had it included that, I would have pled guilty, had her plead guilty to that. And that talks about where the unexpected death of a child that's in good health, or sudden if death syndrome. Had that have been included, should have stood up and said, I'm guilty of that, I did that.
Okay, so it does look like, I think they are landing on, based on this statement, and this is just my perception of it, they are going to chalk this up to SIDS. This is going to be a SIDS case for the defense, and that is how they are going to present it, as what I'm picking up from this opening statement. Now, this may be, wildly off speculation for me, but what it looks like and is coalescing to is that they are going to say that unfortunately Evelyn passed away, and Megan herself, or a cadre of people up to and including her father, hid proof of this, is what it's sounding like to me. I agree with Ryan. I think he is making this monumentally worse. I think he could have honestly not presented this in a more crass way. Basically telling the jurors that they're doing nothing for Evelyn. Evelyn is already dead. I mean, truthful and honest, but Jesus, no one says that. It could work. It could work. I mean, the state, it is true. They, need to be able to prove that first, according to their opening statement, Evelyn was alive when she was placed in the trash can. So we need the medical examiner to be able to prove that to some degree of certainty. We also then need to, to have the medical examiner explain how and what physically would have been happening to Evelyn with her positionally, and then all of the things covering her breathing. So this is going to be a hard thing for the state to prove. Hopefully they've got a medical examiner that can break this down quite easily for the jury. So I guess, and I wonder if the defense is going to have a sudden infant death expert that will maybe give some clarity. Maybe Megan will actually take the stand. Now, I see that being a shit show bigger than Sarah taking the stand. But you never know, especially if they're going with this SIDS, because if they're going with SIDS, you almost need Megan to testify to kind of corroborate all of the things that was going there. I don't know. I can tell you that this defense, while they have raised certain issues, definitely did it in a way that I think is going to rub the jury the wrong way, at least in my opinion.
It's not included because the indictment wants to make it that she committed a violent offense against the child. Lying to the police, improper disposal of the body, or whatever part she played in that, doesn't mean she murdered the child. It means she was an 18-year-old girl that panicked. That's what you have to think about when you hear this proof. That's all I've got to say to you. I thank you for your time and attention. I know I'll probably cross-examine you a lot of you fairly hard the other day. And I mean no disrespect by that. I just want you to know the jury selection process. I did that because we have to have jurors that, make sure that
He did not end his opening statement or proof with, "Look, I'm sorry, I was a little bit of an asshole yesterday, but I need to make sure you're not going to judge my swamp monkey, monster client." If there was a foot this man could stuff in his mouth, he would just, I mean, at this point, he has the extra long Subway, 5 foot long, sub. This is just, okay, sir. Sorry, I was a bit of a jerk, but I gotta be a jerk for her. I'll allow it. I want zealous defense attorneys because the state is going to be zealous too. He just presented it in a way that, good God Almighty.
You can be against it. That's the only reason. I mean, absolutely no disrespect. If I'm hard on you, I apologize for that, but I don't apologize for standing up for me.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. General, 21st witness.
Stay with call agent Brian Fraley.
I know, Nick. I'm trying to write the little banner thing, and I'm like, would you please come up so you can spell your name?
Raise your right hand, please, forward, please. State your name.
Brian Fraley.
You solemnly swear affirm testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir, I do.
Ooh, court ASMR.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
If you would introduce yourself to the jury, please.
Good morning. My name is Brian Fraley, and I'm a special agent with Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
All right. Agent Fraley, how long have you been with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation?
19 years.
All right. What is your current position or assignment there?
Senior special agent out of the Johnson City office, assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division.
All right. So I do have a question. Does Grandma just do the court reporting like at night when she's, doing her hair? Because fabulous. But I don't see anyone doing the little, typety type thing. Does she do it at home or something? She's teleworking.
All right. Agent Fraley, were you called upon to assist in the investigation into the disappearance and subsequently the death of Evelyn Boswell?
Yes, sir, I was.
All right. And do you remember when that was that you were called out to assist in that?
Yes, sir. It was February 19th of 2020.
Okay. And what was your role when you first got called out?
Myself and other agents were called to assist Special Agent Brian Pritchard. He had been called to Sullivan County to assist Sullivan County Sheriff's Department on an Amber Alert on the 18th.
Sir, you need a mustache hella bad. Look, you are part of the TBI. I'm sure they issue you a Magnum PI. Let me just tell you, you need a Magnum PI. It's, we absolutely need you to have a mustache. Something looks wrong. You look like a 12-year-old, 40-year-old, and it's confusing the hell out of me right now. So get some facial hair.
The previous day.
Okay. And so when you were first called out, this investigation was in regards to a missing child. Is that correct?
That's correct. Special Agent Pritchard had been contacted on a missing person case that involved Evelyn Boswell. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is the only state agency that can actually issue Amber Alerts. We were informed that the initial complaint by a family member being the grandfather of Evelyn, was Tommy Boswell through Department of Children's Services, also known as DCS, who had contacted the referral to the Sullivan County Sheriff's Department. Sullivan County Sheriff's Department got that referral, contacted us, and Special Agent Pritchard responded after going through a checklist that is required. Instead of just a regular missing person or missing child case, certain things have to be checked off or validated in order to issue.
And that is something that people don't understand about the Amber Alert. Depending on your locality, there are certain elements that they actually need in order to issue an Amber Alert. So, a lot of times, you have to know the child, maybe a description of the car they were last seen in, things like that. So there has been some loosening in recent years with cases where not all the criteria were met, and then an Amber Alert wasn't sent out, and unfortunately bad things happen to children. So there has been a sort of loosening of that, but it is dependent on your locality and kind of what the rules or criteria that needs to happen before they can issue one.
A full-blown Amber Alert.
And Agent Fraley, I know you work for the TBI. Were there other law enforcement agencies that were involved in this investigation?
Yes, sir. Once it went to a full Amber Alert, which is probably our highest priority at TBI, the FBI was called. Obviously, Sullivan County Sheriff's Department investigators were already involved along with Agent Pritchard. But once we were involved, we have a specific team just for Amber Alert cases out of Nashville that also involve other agents and intelligence analysts. The FBI has a specialized team of trained agents called a CART team, and that's a child abduction response team. And these agents are experts in child abduction, Amber Alert type cases. So within hours of the Amber Alert being issued and certified, there was approximately 40 to 50 FBI, TBI, Sullivan County investigators, and intelligence.
Now, I really don't think that Megan understood the S show that was going to come down when Evelyn was, pronounced missing. JKD Buck, if you could throw that on the Discord, that is hilarious. I love it. I don't think Megan quite understood that there are, like he said, there are CART teams, child abduction, like immediate action teams for FBI agents for TBI. I don't think she fully grasped what kind of dissension of federal force and state force was going to come down. So it is really interesting. I definitely don't think Megan had any clue that this was going to turn into as big as it did.
Analyst assigned to this case.
So a number of agents across a number of agencies, all out there, essentially, at least initially, looking for a missing child. Is that
Yes,
a fair
sir.
statement?
That's correct.
All right. And so over the first couple days of your investigation, did you participate in or were you aware of interviews that were done with the defendant, Megan Boswell?
Yes, sir. Megan Boswell provided statements to a numerous amount of investigators early on, including me.
All right. And would it be a fair statement to say that she gave you multiple different versions about what had happened and where her child might be located?
Yes, sir. Repeated stories that we tracked down that turned out to be lies.
Objection, Your Honor. That's speculation.
As to the word lies sustained.
May I continue?
Yes.
Just different statements that
Did you hear the judge say anything? To be fair, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure if something's not true and you had to chase it down, it could be a lie. It's not, he's not speculating it's a lie. He actually tracked it down and confirmed it was a lie. So I don't know. This is, absolutely ridiculous. And you are right. I'm catching up, had to remove my cleaning gloves and type this. Thank you for your stands to remember this sweet baby. Your words at the opening touched. Thank you. Now I feel like Meghan Markle. I'm reading glow up things for me. But any one of us would have taken this baby. And again, it is not a sign of weakness if you need help. If you need to call a friend and say, hey, I just need 5 minutes alone so I can pee in silence. Could you just watch her for like 5 seconds? I just need 10 minutes alone in the bathroom and I will be okay. It really is such a sad waste of such a beautiful baby and a potential life. The entire world was robbed of what Evelyn could be. And that's a tragedy.
She had provided that turned out to be leads that we tracked down over the course of several days and several weeks.
All right. And I guess let me ask you this way, Agent Fairley. Okay, I'm sorry. Were you all ever able to locate Evelyn Boswell?
Yes, sir, we were.
All right. And was that as a result of information? Well, I guess go ahead and tell me how it was that you were able to.
So on March 6th, which this is fast forwarding 17 days since I was brought in with other investigators, 18 days since the initial report on February 18th, we'd been working around the clock. And like I said, there was 40 to 50 of us working, and a phone call was received by Tommy Boswell. Tommy Boswell had called in. And March 6th, 2020 was a Friday. And we had worked, like I said, 18 days. And we had come to a point in the investigation where we had decided we need a break. We had exhausted a lot of resources, time, and we were at a place where we didn't feel we should go on at that time. We should take a break, and it was a good pause point, if you will. So on the afternoon of March 6th, again as a Friday, the plan was the investigators to go home, reset physically and mentally. We were exhausted, and try to just get a sense of normalcy, if you will, over the weekend and come back Monday. If anything would have come up, we would have responded. But
And here is why the defense rankles us so much. It just came to me. You had people, you had officers from multiple agencies working their ass off 24/7 for 18 days, not seeing their families, not, doing anything. I know there are not so great cops out there, but you get cops that are involved in, trying to get children back, and they are some of the most dedicated people. So I can imagine that they were, looking frantic, being methodical, but every day was, have we done this? We need to go back here. To the point where they were mentally and physically exhausted. And they decided they needed to take a break, everyone go home and get a clear mind. This is how people react when a child is missing. They don't go to Margaritaville in search of their lost shaker of salt. They don't hook up with the guy who owns the chicken shack. They don't, lie and tell multiple stories. This is why it rings so hollow, because you have people that didn't even know this child until they were called to find her, and they expended more energy to find this child than her mother did.
in late afternoon on the March 6th, on the Friday, Tommy Boswell called in. So we agreed, the four of us, myself, Special Agent Gratz, who's also another TBI agent, investigator Tracy Raz, who is a Sullivan County.
Lexi, that is actually something I wrote down because the defense brought it up. I do want the state to try to explain, if they had already searched this property, and they had cadaver dogs, why wasn't the Playhouse A searched Or was it searched prior and then this trash can was found? There are a lot of questions with that. I don't know that this will be the agent that will hear that particular information from, but it is something that I will be looking for an answer, because of everything, that is the most cogent, reasonable doubt thing that I think the defense has brought up. So hopefully we will get answers during the trial, but this is something that I think has confused a lot of us who kind of know of the case. It does seem a little odd.
Detective at the time and investigator Michelle Gillum, who was an investigator at the time. We'd been working together for those weeks. We decided, let me back up. Mr. Boswell reported that he wasn't sure if there was a storage.
Objection is what Mr. Boswell says.
Well, Judge, I'm not offering further.
I do like that the defense is speaking up and they are not allowing the state to get away with itty bitty ticky tacky things like maybe hearsay or speculation. They are keeping the state very close to, hey, let's keep it to the facts. And Southern Red Sox Girl says, if I remember correctly,
Agent
they
Fraley, as a
researched
result of the call that you got.
Playhouse because it was on a different part of the property. So I guess that is something that is definitely going to need to be explained, at least to me. It would be a big question I would have if I were on the jury.
And let's step back a little bit. Tommy Boswell is the defendant's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Megan's father and Evelyn's grandfather.
All right. As a result of the phone call that you received from Mr. Boswell, what did you all do next?
We went to Mr. Boswell property located on Muddy Creek to conduct a search there.
All right. And is that property located in Sullivan County?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I think it's 539
All right.
Muddy Creek Road.
All right. Agent Fraley, in the course of your investigation while you were out there, did you create a sketch or diagram of the Boswell property?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. If I could, I'm going to hand you a document, ask you if you can identify what's shown.
Excuse me, this is a hand-drawn document. It's a sketch of like an aerial view of the property there at Mr. Boswell's at 539 Muddy Creek Road, Bluntville, Tennessee.
All right. And does that diagram accurately show the layout or the placements of various sheds, outbuildings, trailers, roadways there on the property?
Yes, sir, it does.
All right. Judge, we would move to make that exhibit number 6.
Any objection?
No, sir.
Be fully considered.
And if we could, I'd like to publish that to the jury.
Or you can use the demo thing.
Well,
The bailiff looks mildly confused. Oh, does he have to put it on the? No. The less technical difficulties for the fact that, professional lawyers have them too makes me feel seen. There is that trickle of back sweat just rolling down his back as this computer is taking forever.
and Judge, Agent Fraley may need to step down. I don't know if he can. I may need him to step down for the witness. I don't know if he can. If I could hand him a laser pointer.
You need to, that's fine, as long as we can pick him up on.
I can see that.
Can you
from-
see it okay
Yes,
from there?
sir.
I didn't know if you would be able to.
Can confirm he has 20/20 vision.
All right.
Congratulations.
Are you okay from?
Yes, sir. I can see that.
Shooting.
And I have it in front of me as well
Okay.
on my screen.
All right. If you would kind of point out, I guess, the major landmarks that are shown there in the diagram.
Yes, sir. So this top house here is Tommy Boswell's, as it was described to us. This resident here was a mobile home that was described as his mother's. This is the shed that we had information on right there. That's like a yard barn or an outbuilding. And then here is notated as what we described and what was described as a playhouse.
I don't know what happened.
Hold on a second.
It's like it lost your speed.
Oh, okay. Every courthouse just needs to hire the
I was
AV
gonna say,
club
you
from your
understand
local
your-
high school. Even court TV is like, we don't know what's going on. Just what are we attempting to do?
That's sad.
I want to get into D&D, but like I need another hobby to take time away from when I'm supposed to learn editing.
There you go.
You need me to disconnect the laptop, Judge? or-
I can change it.
Okay.
The computer is possessed.
Continue.
Yes, continue, please.
All right. So yes, right here, behind that shed or yard barn, if you will, was a playhouse, and it's
So this is incredibly sus. So if this is the residence of Tommy's mother, so Megan's great grandmother, okay, and I understand this is not drawn to scale, but if they knew that this entire property, could have potentially been a place where Evelyn was, it really doesn't make sense that they didn't search the playhouse. That being said, maybe they have a complete explanation. So,
noted Playhouse ROE. ROE is an acronym for us for Recovery of Evidence, which was the body of Evelyn Boswell. Up in the right-hand corner is my notes are like a key to this, which indicates the date, our case number, the location, and my signature with the date, notating that I was the one that drew this sketch.
Agent Fraley, you've got the driveway shown through the middle part of that diagram there. Was there any sort of gate or anything that, as far as being able to enter or exit the property?
I recall, I think there was a gate at the bottom, from Muddy Creek Road to the driveway.
All right. Okay.
We don't need to.
Now, Agent Fraley, you identified an outbuilding that was there on the property. You had said that's where you went first.
That's correct.
Okay. And I guess tell us what you found or what you observed when you went to that outbuilding.
What was found there were multiple boxes of belongings of Megan Boswell that contained a variety of items specific to a young child. I recall there were clothing items, diapers, medicines, toys, those kind of things were the most common thing in those boxes.
Agent Fairley, I'm going to show you three photographs and ask you if you can identify what's shown in those.
And so the first one is the yard barn or shed that was described and depicted in the sketch. The home there to the right was, our understanding, Tommy's mother. The second, that's the first one. The second one is the same yard barn or shed, except in this one it has a picture of the what we were describing as a playhouse behind it. And then the
That
third
picture
and final one
I didn't think
is a
about that.
closer photograph of the yard barn or shed with those items I just described.
Okay, I had to take a pause because I thought he had an Oscar Mayer Wiener statue, but I was like, why is it pointing straight up? Yeah, maybe because it's a rocket ship and not a hot dog. No.
And those photos accurately show how that shed or outbuilding looked when you arrived there on March the 6th, 2020.
Yes, sir, it does.
Judge, we would move to make those the next exhibits, which I think are 7, 8, and 9.
Any objection?
No, sir.
Would be cool included. How do you want to display those?
Well, I'll take another
Shot?
shot at trying to use the laptop.
I can tell you that's a shot you shouldn't take. Just use the Elmo. We have seen your laptop, skills.
Which order did you want these pictures marked?
Whatever.
I want them the way he described them. First one, yard barn with the
Okay, I have to ask if this whole moving slow thing is a Tennessee thing. I mean, I have seen things move at the speed of Southern, but this bailiff, he moves at the speed of sweet tea brewing on the porch. I know it's a different thing. I know it's and what in God's name is this paneling? I cannot understand it. It looks like they have plaster or fabric behind it. Volstrom, I think I'm becoming a northerner because this is a whole lot slow for me, and I'm usually pride myself on my pretend southernness, but I'm like Jamie. I'm like chip chop chip. Come on, like we can walk with a quickness. Let's have some speed. Let's have a little hustle in our bustle.
second one's the yard barn with the playhouse behind it. Third one's the close up to the yard barn.
Also, Megan Boswell, I would like you to look at one of your victims. This man dedicated 18 days of his life working his ass off to find your daughter, and he found her. And I'm sure that was a profound sense of loss. I am sure, I can't imagine the moment that he knew that this wasn't going to be a happy ending. Maybe when he saw a tiny little pink shoe, popping out of a trash can. But welcome to another one of your ripple of victims, Megan, because I can't imagine that image ever goes away, ever. That is seared on your soul. So excuse me if I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for you, Megan. I'm going to worry about your real victims. True that. Wisdom, the more you know. Oh, also, if any of you technical geniuses find that clip of, like, you know, the little start to the more you know, and you can clip that and send that to me. I have been trying to figure out how to clip things. As you know, I'm about as competent on the computer as this particular prosecutor. So if you find that on your journeys on the interwebs, I would be gratefully appreciative.
May I see those? Make sure we've got the.
Now, I will confess that I am the type of person that watches hoarders to feel better about my house. And being in the middle of a construction zone because we are making my room handy capable, this shed makes me feel so much better about my life. I'm like, at least all of my crap is in boxes with labels. Damn it.
All right, Agent Fraley, I'm got up on the screen what's been introduced as Exhibit 7. If you would,
Did
tell
we
the jury
just
what
become
what
best
they're looking at.
friends?
So this is the yard barn or shed that I was describing. This was the home.
I have never heard it called a yarn barn. I mean, I've heard it called a shed, I've heard it called an outbuilding, but I have never heard of yarn barn. See, learn something new every day and your mind will grow.
That was described to us as Tommy Boswell's mother, and then the items there that you can see with the open door inside of the shed or yard barn.
Now, I am typically well versed in hill chuckery and hillbilliness, but do my eyes spy an extension cord running from the house to God knows where? Just all up in the yard, just extension cord to who knows where. I mean, again, I am well versed in hill chuckery, but this is taken a little far. Look, I have my hillbilly day pass, and this is unacceptable. Okay.
Next is Exhibit 8.
Yes, sir. Again, the yard barn with the door open, showing those items described. And this building here behind the yard barn is what I described and is notated on my sketch as the playhouse, where
What in the Coraline Wednesday Addams is that playhouse? Okie dokie. You know what? We're just gonna let Jesus take the wheel. We cannot snark on our own people, Mo.
Evelyn's body was recovered.
We have hillbilly honor.
Next, Exhibit 9.
Yeah, again, that's just a closer photograph of the yard barn or shed with those items I described placed inside.
Okay. Now, I'm not the most logical person, but if you would like to store said crap, would you put crap in there like this? I mean, for all intents and purposes, you get a yard barn to, you know, store all the crap that no longer fits in your house. But you put it in there nicely because it's crap you want to keep. What the hell happened to this guitar? That is either the largest amount of Nick Ricada powder I have ever seen. Sorry, Nick. Look, I used the wrong hand. But what the hell, is that shaving cream or whipped cream? What the hell did you put on this guitar? I have all the questions. And what is this monstrosity back here? Is this a hammock? Well, look, if I were in Storage Wars, I'd be sad if I bid on this yard barn.
Side there.
Pretty sure that's something rotten right there, but I don't hazard a guess at this point.
All right. Did you participate in, or I guess what did you all do with the items that were that you saw located in that outbuilding there?
Those were obviously photographed and documented as what they were, processed.
All right. Did you participate?
JKD Buck, I think you mean a field dressing station for deer season. Look, if you happen to see old Bambi strung up on a kid's swing set, then you have officially entered most neighborhoods. Don't mess with people from rural areas. We will multitask anything.
In that process, or were you just?
Yeah, I think primarily the two inside there actually searching, going through the items was Special Agent David Gratz and Investigator Tracy Arras.
Okay. Was that the end of your investigation of what you did there on the property?
No, sir, it was not.
Okay. What did you all do next?
That would be a glow up for Lynette's property. That would be like someone like Design Team Property Brothers came and done flipped her property. If all her various and essential crud, and I quite literally mean crud in the scatological sense, yes. I think I could gerrymander it, so let me try that. Well, I mean, he's a good dog. Don't let the pit bull scare you when it's... And I'm not the type that says pit bulls are bad or anything like that. I have met sweet as baby pit bulls, and I'm going to be honest. I see a pit bull or a bull mastiff walking towards me, I'm scared. But I should be scared of deer. So honestly, I always pick the wrong villain. I really do. Don't worry about the dogs. It's the deer that are after you, Mo. I am going to have to work on that because I think I can figure it out. Possibly.
So we continued looking and led us to look inside the playhouse. And we searched it.
And what did you find, if anything, upon looking in the playhouse?
There were, once the door was opened, right inside the door, as the opening of the door, was a trash can, like a tall kitchen model, common trash can, and 2 bags of trash beside of it.
Oh, hell no, sir. Oh, hell no. No, if you lose it when you talk about when you found baby Evelyn, I'ma lose it. Okay? I wore waterproof mascara, but it's not going to hold up if you start tearing up, because there is something about stoic men tearing up that gets me. I mean, not that anyone can watch Saving Private Ryan without crying, but it's these stoic men nearly crying that gets me all the time. I'm like... So, sir, I'm going to need you to hold strong so I don't ugly cry on here. Thank you so much. God bless. Ooh, they even upcharge for
Bradley, I'm going to show you a
glossy.
number of photographs and ask you if you can identify what's shown in those.
Yes, sir. The first one I'm reviewing is a standalone picture of what I described as the playhouse that was by. Okay. The second one is a closer, of the playhouse, a closer proximity with the door open. The third picture is the same thing with the door open. Third one is a closer photograph with the door open.
Bobby, don't brag unless you bring gummies for the entire class. I have to go pick up a pissed off, debulbed cat who I'm pretty sure. Okay, Dingus, Lord of Chaos, was pissed this morning that he couldn't have breakfast and he's getting debulbed. So I am pretty sure that he is not going to be in a good mood. I mean, I told the little sweet little girl at the vet clinic, I was like, look, he's an ass, but he's my ass, so I would knock him out before I get him out of the carrier. But I'm not a doctorologist. I did use doctorologist because of course I did. So y'all do you, but I'm just saying he is not in a good mood today. I'm like, he's my ass. I love him, but he might scratch the hell out of you. Well, so if you weren't here at the beginning, my youngest, most feral, did say that he has modeling clay and he could make Dingus new bulbs if he wanted. Now, I choose to look at that as very creative and empathetic and just ignore the fact that he's making prosthetic balls for my cat. Because, at this point, you just gotta let it go. He really is my kid. I mean, he doesn't look like me at all, but he definitely wants to help in his own special way. Of course, then he asked when he was getting neutered, and I looked him dead in the eye and told him when he gets married, like the rest of us.
It does depict, the third one depicts the trash can with the bags of trash, as does the second one depicting the trash can. The first one, the door was closed. The next one depicting an open door with the trash bags and the trash can. The next one, assorted items that were inside the playhouse, and they appeared at that time. They had been.
I want all the grandchildren. I do. All of them. But here's the thing, and God, if you could please listen to me, because this is all I need. Literally, all I need, and I think moms will understand me, is there is always this one thing you cannot have because of children, be it, a white couch, any dishes that don't break. For me, I want a very, very nice, porcelain handcrafted nativity set. And I will have it for 6 months between, when youngest, most feral moves out and, oldest, most responsible starts bringing grandchildren in. And I will gladly then put that away and bring out the, Fisher-Price nativity set in which the Jesus cannot be decapitated. But I simply want 6 months, just one Christmas, one. That's all I'm asking, God, where I can have a beautiful, lovely, like full-blown, like Christmas, like all the angels. And of course, I would make them biblically accurate so they'd be balls of feathers and eyeballs. I just want one. God, I don't have many needs. I just want one Christmas where I can have a beautiful nativity set, and then I will lock that shit away and go back to my life of, having things that are Nerf related. I am totally okay with it. I know I'm asking for the impossible. I might as well just ask to, be married to Henry Cavill in the next life. It might could be easier to achieve.
They're longer than the trash can and trash bags. Again, picture from outside the playhouse looking in where the trash bag or the trash can was. And it's a closer picture that depicts a black trash bag in the top portion of the trash can. The next one is a picture of an area inside the playhouse that had this assorted items there that, again,
I will say this is different procedurally. a lot of times they'll have the witness kind of thumb through the pictures and then he will go ahead and describe as he has kind of walked through each picture with the state. So the state's theory, baby Evelyn was found wrapped in a blanket, then her head and upper body sort of were wrapped in foil. Then there was another trash bag placed either over or on top of her. She was positioned head down in the trash can. Now it is up to the state to prove that she was alive when this happened, because that is what they're charging Megan with. Now the defense is claiming, I think they've sort of solidified on this was either a smother death or a SIDS death, and in deep desperation and fear, Megan hid her baby in the trash can. So that's kind of the two opposing views that you have, and it'll be up for the state to, really prove these things. It's an awful case. I am not going to lie to you. This is not monetized. I will be throwing out curse words like it is my job because, well, semi sort of it is. But I am bringing all the snark. Now, I do expect the state to prove everything they put out in their opening statement, but I kind of have all the snark for her. And if you guys watch, I do have a playlist for Megan Boswell, and we go over kind of the case, and then we also go over her interviews. If you can still vouch for her being a scared, tormented, deeply frightened woman as she is portraying herself on these interviews, that's going to be a hard hurdle for the defense to go over, because all the state basically has to do is play either of those two television interviews, and she does not portray a scared, terrified, emotionally overwrought mother. She barely cries. She does a lot of smirking. She does a lot of, if the TBI won't find her, I'll go find her because I done told her where they were or where she was. I mean, again, this is going back to the Letitia thing. You cannot portray yourself as being emotionally unstable, overwrought, acting outside of character in a state of panic when you willingly give interviews kind of throwing off the scent. Again, these two things don't gel, and this is where I think the defense is going to run into a problem, because let's see, she was 18 when Evelyn was born. Crap, how old is this chick? Old enough to know better. I'm having a brain fart. I'll have to look that up. But this is different. I have about 15 more minutes. Hopefully we can at least get through the state's part. And then I'm going to end this stream. What I'm going to try to do, that tonight is Wednesday, it is date night, but I will be moving up to Mr. Moe's for the duration of making my room handy capable. Thank you very much. So I should be able to, we are going to try to set it up so I can stream while I'm sitting in his bed. So I should be able to do some more evening to late night streams. Okay, late for me, so about 8. But hopefully we'll be able to speed run the rest of this, not tonight, but tomorrow morning, and then get into the day 2 of the trial. No, I'm actually going to be helping Mr. Moe move a lot of my stuff upstairs. So I can take over his room, and then he can start taking out the carpet and all the things in my room. We are living in crazy time. That's why you see all of my stuff is gone. I know. I'm moving on up to the upstairs, to a deluxe room upstairs.
Again, appeared to be there for some time with dust and cobwebs on them. Next picture is another picture from right at the doorway. Again, the trash can, the trash bags. Again, another picture of the trash can with the trash bag, the trash bags. There's other items around these. I keep talking about the trash bags and the trash can because they were relevant to to us because they looked like they had recently been put there. These other items had dust and cobwebs and looked like they'd been there for years undisturbed. The last photograph I have is, this is my hand in the picture. It's pulling back, it's over the trash can with what appeared to be a leg and a foot of a baby, or a baby doll, it appeared at the time, with the fleece blanket and the purple onesie, the clothing that had been described to us by Megan Boswell.
When you made the observation that you made in the last, you described in the last photograph, did you do anything else with the trash can prior to the medical examiner's office?
No, sir. At that time, we didn't. We stopped what we were doing. We'd found Megan, or I'm sorry, we'd found Evelyn, and we made phone calls. We had called the DA's office, advising them that we'd found her. We've called our chain of command, our supervisors, and the medical examiner's office, along with forensic pathology out of Johnson City, and waited till all those personnel arrived.
Okay. And Agent Fraley, the photographs that you just described and identified, do they truly and accurately depict the scene as you saw it inside the Playhouse on March the 6th of 2020?
Yes, sir, it does.
Judge, we would move to introduce those as full exhibits at this time.
You can tell he's reliving this. And this is the hardest thing to watch, at least for me. Very stoic, very professional men trying to hold it together, and women. The medical examiner in the Darrell Brooks case broke me. And she was a very professional woman. So I guess very professional people who generally do their very utmost best to, remain professional and non-emotional. This is the part that breaks me, because he is trying his damnedest to hold it in and be professional, because he knows that, his emotion isn't part of this case. But he's going to carry seeing that little baby leg. And I'm sure he was hoping against all hope that that was a baby doll. It was one of them creepy dolls. But these are the victims that we never talk about. And I hope to God, if we are doing revolutionary change in our government, in our federal systems, in our state systems, then we make sure that our first responders who have to see this human tragedy day in and day out are getting the mental health they need, because I can imagine what he's seen in his career. And hopefully he is getting help. Hopefully the jury will get help after this. I know generally they do have these things set up for, difficult cases. So hopefully he's getting he has someone to talk to, maybe a buddy, maybe another, veteran of the TBI that's been there, done that, and he can help out with that, because these are things that have to just weigh on your soul.
Objection.
There'll be full exhibits, I don't know how many there were. He went so fast, I couldn't write it all down. Starts at 10. I don't know where it is.
Ten through 19, Judge.
Okay. Judge, if I could, I'd like to publish those to the jury.
I'm going to try to watch this really quickly and carefully. Court TV generally does a great job of not showing us things that they're not supposed to show us, but there might be something in here. We had a thing with Gannon, so hopefully they will not show the pictures of the trash cans, or at least publish them. But yeah.
All right. Agent Fairley, I'm going to start with Exhibit 10.
Yes, sir.
If you would describe what the jury's looking at.
That's a playhouse that was located behind the yard barn.
And if we're looking at it that way, the outbuilding would be where?
The outbuilding yard barn shed is, as described, would be to the left out of the picture back this way from the yard barn, or from the playhouse.
All right. And the door, as we're looking at it, that door was closed when you arrived.
Yes, sir, that's how we found it.
Next, I'm going to show you Exhibit 11.
Same playhouse with the door open. And if you look inside the door right here, this white trash can is the trash can that I was describing as I was reviewing the photographs.
As you opened the door, was anything disturbed or moved, or, I mean, did anything shift?
No,
Was there
sir. Nothing fell out onto, as you can see, there's a front porch there. It was opened, and it is as it's seen. Obviously, trash cans kind of tilted the way it is there, and the other items throughout the playhouse.
So the only difference between the prior photograph we looked at and this one is that you all have opened the door so that you could see inside. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Next, I'm going to show you Exhibit 12.
Same, obviously, playhouse, just from a different angle. You can see the trash can there on the left, and those two, you can see the main portion of one bag and partial portion, excuse me, of a second trash bag, two white trash bags there. Obviously, other items, the blue tote, the brown piece of furniture, and other items there.
Now we're looking at Exhibit 13.
Yeah,
Next to a old guitar or an old piano, just
again, there at the Playhouse, just a closer angle or closer photograph
Okay.
right inside the door.
You mentioned earlier that it looked like or appeared to you that some of the items had been there for quite a while, and that some of them did not.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything in that photograph that indicates that to you or that you can see?
Yes, sir. So the trash can and the two bags appeared to me that they had been placed there recently. The other items, like I said, the blue tote, those other things, these right here, that cardboard box, these items back here on the shelf, they just look dated and like they'd been undisturbed for quite some time because, again, they had dust and cobwebs located throughout the Playhouse, except for that portion right there, right at the front door.
yes, Bobby.
Now,
Okay, let me backnate. She was in this particular trash can. I'm actually shocked that they're showing as much as they are, but you've got the keyboard that looks like it's been undisturbed for years. The tote looks fairly recent. You've got the trash bags, but then you've got these boxes. That might be fairly recent, but there's a lot of things in there that, and now maybe I'm overly sentimental as a Sagittarius or an Eric Cardinal or whatever the hell I am as a zodiac. If I had a playhouse that I'd lovingly put together, even if it looked like the scary house from Coraline, I would protect the hell out of that because that's going to be my grandbabies one day. Now, maybe not every parent or every grandparent thinks this way, but just to have spent so much time to create something for your daughter only to fill it haphazardly with your unusable crap. And I don't care if your baby died for, I like Coraline. I'm just saying it's creepy, okay? Like it gave me nightmares, but that's because I get weirded out with moms with eyeballs that are made of buttons, but this chick is all I've got to say. This chick.
Now showing you Exhibit 14.
Yes, sir.
What are we looking at there?
Same thing. That's
And can I do a public service announcement? Okay, as a hillbilly, as a hillchuck, as a rural American, look, hillchuck doesn't equal trashy. Look, for most of us, we take care of our stuff. Like, we might be moderately, messy, like me, somewhat chaotic, but we don't do this. We don't have cobwebs and rat feces and just general trash. You can be a hillbilly and neat. It is not one or the other. You can actually be both. And we don't claim them. No. Nope. That is a different level of hillchuckery and rural Americanness we just do not tolerate.
right inside the playhouse to the right. If you just stuck your head into the playhouse from the doorway, this would be to the right. And again, these items you can see specifically on this bag here. Well, a lot of these things, it's just dust covered, indicating to me that it had been there a while.
Agent
Here's
Fairley,
hoping
actually,
that's
if you're looking at
dust.
the lower right-hand corner of the photograph, is that the door frame right
This
there?
is the right-hand door frame with the clasp for a lock. So yeah, again, like I said, if you were standing outside, just peering inside, that's kind of the angle or the view that's depicted in this photograph.
All right. Now showing you Exhibit 15.
Yes, the trash can again, this is taken from outside the doorway. This is me here. So the photograph depicts me, and then inside here, and the trash can with the black trash bag unraveled at that point.
Had the trash bag been pulled up out of the trash can, or was that
Just
as
kind
you
of like
saw
the
it?
top was opened.
All right.
The trash bag remained in the trash can, but the
Same.
top was opened.
Now showing you Exhibit 16.
Again, looking inside, it was a very small playhouse. I don't recall the dimensions, but maybe 10 by 10, 12 by 12, a small floor plan with that, and then those were steps leading up to like a little loft inside that playhouse. Again,
This is
another-
Exhibit 17.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
Go ahead.
Again, just another photograph of the trash can and the two bags. There's a keyboard there, a piece of furniture. Again, the blue tote. Just multiple pictures of kind of like the same thing, same angle, same point of view. Just multiple pictures of that. Again, the trash can again.
This is Exhibit 18. For
yes,
the record.
sir.
Sorry.
Again, the trash can.
So you can clearly see that two trash bags were used, unfortunately. And again, just the lack of care given to any of this. You literally put your daughter where vermin crawl, where there is, this is just. And it looks like a lot of work went into this playhouse. At one time, this was a house of childhood innocence, and it's become a dump and now a mausoleum. And it's incredibly sad.
Can with the black trash bag inside the trash can, blue tote, other items there inside the playhouse.
Agent Fairley, there appears to be something on the inside of the white trash can. Were you able to?
Right there. Right there.
Okay. What is that we're seeing or looking at?
I can't see clearly what that is. I don't know if there's another piece of trash bag.
Okay. And Exhibit 19.
Again, after this was, that black trash bag portion had been pulled away, this was the next layer down inside the trash can, which contained Evelyn Boswell's body, clothed in a pink fleece onesie with penguins and a gray and white fleece blanket.
All right.
Okay, no, I can't believe, sorry guys, I really had to use the restroom. I'm gonna stop screen for just right now, if that's okay with you guys. I know that it's on court TV and they're okay with it, and I mean, but still, so we can hear it, all right, we are back. Yes, we did see a leg, and sorry, I really had the worst time to go to the restroom. I have no words. You threw your daughter away like trash. Regardless of if it was an accident or not, you had a choice as her mom. If you could do nothing else in this world, give her a dignified burial. And you didn't. You threw her in where vermin and trash and decay. You couldn't have even given her a nice, beautiful, dignified, send off. You put her in a trash can. Make that make sense.
Hey,
Okay. Did you in any way disturb or move or do anything with the contents of the trash can?
no, the glove in the top portion of that is my hand. Pulling that back to confirm and take a photograph. That was the only thing we disturbed,
Okay.
if you will.
All right.
To take the photograph, and then at that point we stopped, and then made the appropriate phone calls to the medical examiner, forensic pathologist, our chain of command, and the DA's office.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So what happened after you made those phone calls as far as the investigation was concerned?
So after that, like I said, all these people arrive, and our concern is to process the evidence. We did so at the direction of the forensic pathologist. And so while decision was made was on that front porch of that playhouse, which was just.
JKD Buck, I'm so sorry. My brother-in-law is getting his leg amputated above the knee. Some 72-year-old in his car hit him and crushed his leg. I am so sorry. I have been in 2 buildings when older people have run into them thinking they were parking. Now, they were both Aldis, so I don't know if it's the Aldis or maybe there needs to be a time we talk about, giving up driver's licenses. And I'm sure it's not an easy conversation to have. But yeah, definitely the car is always going to win. It's a deadly weapon if you don't treat it with respect. And I'm glad I don't have to have that conversation with my mother right now. Luckily, I'm one of 4, so I lovingly gift that task to any of my siblings. I have too many grandchildren.
Right outside the doorway was to place a body bag there on the front porch. Open, they unzip and they open. So we placed a body bag there, and I brought the trash can out, and we started removing the contents of the trash can onto the body bag that was opened.
All right. And did you participate in that process with folks from the medical examiner's office?
Yes, sir. It was Laura Parsons, who works with the forensic pathology, and Dr. Matrina Schmidt, who is the forensic pathologist there.
Okay. And so you actually helped them and assisted them in removing the body? from the trash can.
Yes, sir. Like I said, the body bag was there, and I removed the contents and the body of Evelyn Boswell onto the body bag where we could start processing what was inside the trash can, which additional evidence was in addition to the body of Evelyn.
And was this whole entire process photographed?
Yes, sir, it was.
This defense attorney is thinking, God, I hope I didn't put this on my LinkedIn. Look, I'm really good at Sudoku. She's... All right, we're starting a counter because that is 3, and I am taking copious notes, you guys, because I am, well, too type A to function, and a chaos demon, so who knows. But this is the 3rd time she's done the schnoz to forehead to hair grease, nose wipe, and ick. Just, ugh. Like, you could have been like a less gross person, but no, just snot into hair gel. Sure, works for me. That might explain Letitia's hair in her interrogation. That does make sense now. Learned something new. Fair point. All right, this is where I do have to leave you guys to get ready to pick up the boys, but I am going to write down this timestamp so we know exactly where to start. And I figure this is a rough case, so I would show you what I am working on for fun as we end today. So you guys, this came in. Holy God, shut up and take my money. A Labyrinth children's book. Now, the only thing that I'm waiting for until I read this is I have to make the codpiece because he is his own damn character. So I'm working on that, but all of my craft supplies are gone. But yes, I am a giant Labyrinth nerd. I still find it deeply romantic that David Bowie kidnapped a baby to seduce an 17-year-old. I don't know. Look, the backstory's a little creepy, but it's David Bowie, okay? So we kind of let him do whatever we want. But I will be working on the codpiece with googly eyes, but I figured we needed a little bit of a break. So look at these cute little pictures. Actually, really cute illustrations. David Bowie does kind of look like your mom from the 80s and not David Bowie, not gonna lie. But it was about, I think, $13. So if you know a person that's getting ready to have a kid and you love the Labyrinth, I mean, again, shut up and take my money. Mr. Mo wouldn't let me get a fizz gig. Mostly because he's like, you already have a bunch of crap to pack up and move. Do you want more crap? And I was like, but it's a fizz gig. And I need it. Along with a Falcor. You don't understand. These are vitally necessary to my happiness. So I am working on this, and we will probably read a couple pages each day. I just kind of misjudged time today, so we will either end with a bedtime story or something fun most days. I am just out of time right now, and I do have to pick up a pissed off, debulbed cat after this. So I am hoping that Dingus will be in an okay mood, and I can get some streaming done tonight. But it is date night, and I am helping Mr. Mo move all my clothes, and apparently I have way too many. Which, okay, in my defense, every woman is contractually obligated to keep that one pair of skinny pants, even if you're crippled and you can't wear pants anymore. Just to pretend that you could one day, maybe might, fit into them once, like after you had mono or something. But we have to keep them. So, in my defense, it's totally right. And also one pair of maternity jeans, because them shits are comfy when you're having a, baby burrito day. Okay. You guys, thank you for joining. I know this is a hard case. Hopefully I can keep the snark going and keep us apace with my, regular life going on. So I will see you either later on tonight or tomorrow after Mornings with Mo, and we will kind of speed run this, and then we'll just follow our own schedule, okay? We will be fine. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this. Welcome. Well, thanks for being on the snark, ride with me. Because I'm sure there's other channels that are like, she is innocent until proven guilty, and we are not going to judge her. That is not this channel. Have a lovely day, you guys. Thank you so much.